actually was one of the few people that Patrick Stewart actually respected in the first season.
Here, I'll give you a remix of the song.
Butterfly in the sky. Come on. I can go twice as high. Take a look.
God damn it.
In a book. My nigga. Reading rainbow.
Hey guys, I'd say we're live.
Anyway.
Rogue, you're gonna get it.
Like I care. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Canadian Rogue, the bringer of chaos, and this is a new year for me. Yes, indeed.
And
stream, he
Sparky
gets
gets
a
channels
tip.
off the air.
Yeah, but the first stream Rogue gets to terrorize, it gets nuked.
Of course. I had to terrorize my streams coming up soon. I know, insane.
In the
Well, you're on
membrane.
Twitch. If you put that word on Twitch, you're screwed.
Already did
yeah.
it. Sorry.
Yeah, we've already
Burn that bridge.
We've crossed that bridge, went over it, and kept on going forward. Apparently, they don't mind.
Apparently, it's when you use the hard R, they give two fucks. You use the A, and they just don't give two shits.
See, I thought about saying it just now.
I hope they burn in hell.
But I don't think Sparky would appreciate the fact that I would get his channel kicked off.
Would have to care.
I don't know. Does Sparky care?
It just means if you put that much work into rewalking the website and you put my channel links in the channel and you guys get off air, you just done all that work for nothing.
Yeah, speaking of which, that's being done today. I was waiting to hear from little whispers and murmurs from the demon over there.
Hey, Sparky, you got 333 followers, by the way.
I figured that the demon was busy, so you know what they say: never wake a sleeping demon.
Oh yeah, I know. It's 333. You should be.
Yeah, you still poke the fucking bear.
No, I poked the dragon.
And
There's a difference.
We don't poke the dragon because the dragon doesn't poke back.
By the way, if anybody hasn't realized, this is not a kid-friendly program. Here's something to remember.
Hey, can we stop by a place real fast? One drugs, please. My man.
Oh shit! It's the warring soundboard.
No. This is a better one.
What? You think you can buy me with a wink and some cheap booze? Oh, well you can.
Yes.
Also, if you haven't fucking realized that this is not for children, I'm sorry. You should get the fuck off the air, turn around, put your head between your legs, kiss whatever fucking left behind of your ass, and say goodbye to it.
Yes, my master.
Sick, hell no! Anyways.
The fuck was You know what? I know. I'm trying to figure
strong today.
trying to figure out who the fuck was which.
Yes, my master.
No, it wasn't Darth Vader. Who the fuck was what?
Nigga, say what?
What?
There you go.
Oh, so my
Damn it, Pin!
Well, at least we know we got a white nigga in the house. Still good.
Well, okay, so I guess it's fair to start the countdown for the channel getting wiped out.
Okay. Yeah, you gotta hit these things.
The nuke button is primed and ready to go.
Hey, you have to be primed and ready to go.
By
Eh?
Nigga! Hello, my nigga. What's up, buddy? You feel like I've
Hey, Sparky?
I missed you.
Yeah?
Oh. All I can say is
Shut up, Wesley.
They think I'm
That was
crazy,
me. That was
but I know
me.
better. It is not I who am crazy. It is I who am mad.
Yeah, no.
Sparky, did you have a boomer moment?
No, I did that on purpose.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm just like I look at your stream and all of a sudden it went black and it says stream starting soon. I'm like,
Well, that one was a slip of the finger. I went to go to the next one. I hit that one instead. So
boomer moment.
really,
Wesley?
Shut
up, Wes.
I'm not old enough to be a boomer. That's the problem.
Yeah, the only one on here old enough to be a boomer is me, unfortunately.
You and Rogue.
Rogue's a little bit younger than me.
A little bit, but he's in that
Rogue is
boomer
way
age.
younger than the old man over there.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
Wait a minute,
Yes,
Gen
sir.
Max is older than Rogue?
Jim Max is almost in his 50s.
Yeah.
What strange world do we live in?
Dude, no, I
found
excitement.
someone older than Dirt.
No.
I
made this.
I will introduce you to someone who's older than Dirt, and I'll take a while.
Yeah. let me put it like this. I've given Jim Max shit for coming on to various streams talking about anime and being around the age of 50s.
I've been watching anime before you were born. Shut up.
Was it called Gigantor?
It was called. Let's see. It was called
Speed Racer?
Yeah.
No. The first one was the first one was Gigantor. Then you had Astro Boy.
Astro Boy!
There are animes I've watched that I can't remember. Let me put it that way. That were so old that I don't remember. That were just not as popular as the ones you've mentioned.
Well, I mean, anime has been around for quite some time.
I mean, technically,
it did get crossed over. I want to say somewhere close to.
Well, you got Lone Stars, you got Silver Hawks.
Yeah.
They were
Hawks
technically
I
animes
mean,
too.
even Sailor Moon was actually across
So-
over technically
Yeah.
within that same genre because that fucker's old.
I had to do this shit before the internet. It was hard. It cost money back then.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's one of those things. You had to find what you liked. Astro Boy being the low tier anime being brought over, and I mean very low tier.
And I lived in a swamp at the time, so it was even harder to find this stuff because I would have to go to like cities, like hundreds of miles away to find it.
So we have verified that Gen Max came out of the gene pool. Literally, he's the start of it.
Something like that.
No, I came from an Irish Catholic woman with the cross of an English Christian bastard. So there you go.
What I'm hearing is potatoes and liquor. Lots of liquor.
No.
Yeah, but the problem with potato liquor is that they didn't figure that out until much, much later. The Russians were the first ones to figure that shit out. Potato liquor. Gotta love those. Gotta love those goddamn Russians.
Yeah, it amazes me how the Irish didn't figure that out sooner. Because if they had, they would have been much happier.
I have a surprise for you.
It does the deal with vodka.
I don't like surprises. Wow.
Here he comes, Big Racer. He's a demon on wheels.
He's a demon on wheels.
He's a demon and he's gonna be chasing after someone.
Nah, he didn't get chased. He was being chased by someone.
Yes. Allow me to express my appreciation for such a display of wit through the act of laughter. Laughter has ceased.
Anywho, I think that the whole theme song that they presented was completely wrong. I mean, yeah, he's probably
that's the American
fast,
version,
on wheels, but he was being chased by people.
It's called a race. Of course, you're being chased by somebody.
No, but in the song, he's chasing people.
But in the show, people are chasing him all the time.
You know, the funny thing is, out of all the Speed Racer I ever watched, I never saw an actual ending to the races.
No, there was never a proper ending to the races.
Any of them.
No,
there was never. No one ever came in first. No one ever finished. I mean, you think those racers would have been like suspended or kicked out for any of that.
There is only one way to properly end those
Kill
races.
Race
war! Race war!
Well, that guy, it's like...
They deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell!
Well, that's the thing that I didn't really like about the movie adaptation, is like, you see the racers race, and all of a sudden, this giant, big-ass fucking white bubble pops up from the fucking car, and says, like, what the fuck is that? So that didn't happen. So those people were dead.
Does somebody have a laugh track?
Yeah.
Yep.
Not me.
Oh.
So somebody has Trevor Noah's secret weapon now.
Yeah. Because it may or may not have a fucking.
Because if you've ever listened to it, it is the same it's like they're so. It's not even like they use different laughs. They use the same goddamn laugh all the time because they're just like everybody knows. Fuck off. They're so goddamn lazy. And
of course, because they don't know how to do it right. I mean, if you're gonna get yourself a fucking laugh track, which is what you did, you may want to have a few that are kicking around. Like, I don't know this one.
That one's from All in the Family.
Oh, I know, but most people don't remember
it. How bad is it? That's how old I am. I recognize that laugh.
I know.
That's All in the Family laugh track. I don't know how I know it. I just like, that's All in the Family. What
actually, that's also not only in All in the Family, but that's actually brought over to the Jeffersons.
You know,
I'm
gonna play something to make you feel better, Jim Max. Okay, young man.
Sparky, wrong song. It's gotta be in the Navy.
Oh, you won that. Okay, okay.
It has to be the Navy.
There you go.
Because I'm Army. There you go.
Oh my god.
The fact that I know that clap is horrible. I know.
You know, it's funny because I was in
bunch of weirdos. Okay.
No, time out. I was in chat with
at my high school. Used to play that all the time.
I was in. Chat
that explains a lot. You the
thing is, it was demanded by other people, and I was just like, "Wow, this is weird."
They were really interested.
I was in chat with Jim Max and Penn the other night, and they kept muting and leaving and muting and leaving. I was in the conversation. I was like, you know what? DJ Sparky's got to play some tunes. And I just started fucking going through the soundboard. And the next song is, okay, next up, DJ Sparky's getting ready to play. Girls just want to have fun. And I would just go through all the fucking sounds of my sound pad and finally get my
have you been able to capture
Mad Squatch? Yes, I do remember the Scooby-Doo laugh track.
I've got it somewhere. Did you get MC Jargle's greatest hits?
MC Jargle's.
Jargle's, no.
Oh, come on! You should have gotten it by now.
No, I haven't.
You want to? I mean, really, it's
what's it sound like?
No, hang on.
I don't know if Draconis would know because he was the baby of our group, essentially.
It'll fill you up, and it'll really help when raising your kids. My analogies with hot dog bits, but make sure they're diced up and pan-fried, mix them together. Delicious, and it'll fill you up.
Fuck cheeseburgers and shit. KFC, nigger, please. Cooks in a pan, sweet as can be. Man, I love all these autistic recipes. Turning these backwards, stupid motherfuckers in my Discord Discord chat. But Matt, how are you gonna diss your friends like that? Are you really this dumb? Dumb enough to let them record my ass for like the last 6 months?
With hot dog bits.
You know what I really hate? My dick won't elevate. I'm not even 38.
That's just the highlights of Matt Jarbo. I mean, seriously.
Well, no. Here's the song I was talking to you about, Rogue. And I want to see if Winsley and a couple people in the chat will agree with me. This could be your, entourage theme song describes you. First, you have to get past the long fucking violin intro.
Just skip it.
My name you see, for my special touch. To the gentlemen, I'm misfortune. To the ladies, I'm surprise. But call me by any name. Anyway, it's all the same. I'm the fly in your suit. I'm the pedal in your shoe. I'm the bee beneath your bed. I'm the bump on every head. I'm the peel on which you slip.
Is there a reason we're listening to the because I'm evil?
So you actually listen to this one.
I'd rather do a remix on it.
And it's so easy when you're evil.
So you've actually listened to Voltaire.
I don't like this song.
I love it. It's fucking described.
I listened to it when you played it to me the last time, and I told you, I asked you the question, who sung this song?
Voltaire.
And you told me some weirdo from whatever it was, Rick and I don't know the skeleton.
No. I said it was a artist named Voltaire. They also did this song for a Billy and Mandy episode.
That's basically what. There you go, Billy. That's basically you told me that. I'm like, going, okay, I don't like the song. Didn't like the song then. Still don't like the song now. I think it's one of the most longest-winded, boringest song ever with a stupid violin. No. That's all I can say. No.
I only enjoy it when it's in an AMV used with certain clips.
Are you sure about that, Mr. Stretchy Dragon?
Look, I am still tired as piss.
I didn't know piss could be tired.
God damn it, Rogue.
Yes, it fucking
beat
can.
me to it.
It fucking can be tired.
Okay,
I'm
it's good to know.
sorry. I'm sorry that I am fucking exhausted because some fucking dogs and cats decided, oh, hey, you should be up now.
Well, because they know that you're supposed to be streaming.
Sleep. Strangling Rogue.
Yes, you can do that.
But if you did that, you wouldn't have access to the back end of all the goodies to fuck around with people in video games.
I don't need the back door to fuck with people.
No, he
And that's a lot more better.
We need
to watch what I say.
Do we need to walk down this path again? I mean,
we need
come
to
on.
cut that. We need to cut that and put it in the soundboard.
No, time out. No. I really wish I was recording during
I want
all
you to
those
remember.
fucking times.
Who was it? Who was so nice to leave you all sorts of goodies?
Rogue, because he does.
That wasn't me.
That wasn't Rogue.
I'm pretty sure Rogue granted somebody who will not be named here abilities to do things that other people like.
No, he wants me to
can't.
fuck with you.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing a very poor job about it.
He hasn't even started.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge not just accepted, Penn. I hope you enjoyed living.
Yeah, you opened up the wrong Pandora's box on that one.
I think I just opened up Pandora's box. Get it right.
You may have opened.
So, are you a type of explorer pen now?
Explorer? What?
Yeah, explorer.
I ain't got no boots.
Pandora.
I ain't got no map. I ain't got no backpack.
You're gonna be exploring
talking
everywhere. Wait. You do have boots. You have a backpack, and you have a goddamn. So you're gonna be exploring
now
everything.
you have a monkey on your shoulder.
The monkey's called Draconith. You can get off now.
No, we're just getting started.
You'll probably just beat off on your shoulder.
Jesus.
That's a great idea. I should do that.
Ew. Ew.
Get in here! And like use her sleeve to clean up.
Again, if we haven't explained, this is not for children, folks.
Yeah, we've walked into this one willingly.
We already.
Some of us
I really
granted more than others.
Oh yeah, no, I wish I was recording whenever you were fucking playing.
Yeah, I would agree with that,
Pin.
Slayer. Her jokes are very terrible.
I don't know how many times.
What am I holding?
I've
got a button.
Muffin button.
I don't know how many times we've had fun at the expense of Pin with sexual innuendos that she's clearly and blatantly stepped into.
Excuse me, what?
She always does the sexual innuendo. She does that every time that she plays a video game, so she talks away. And I always I'm not shocked or surprised. I'm not even underestimating her power on that. So
Pin sounds shocked and surprised.
Unlimited power.
No.
Anyways.
So it seems like we'll be looking at certain states getting a little decrease on their hold from when I reload this page. What is it?
What kind of hold?
They're losing some seats. Apparently, Texas should be gaining about 3 seats in the near future. Florida should gain 2 seats in the near future. North Carolina, Carolina, Arizona, Montana, and Oregon should all each get 1, whereas Alabama, California, Minnesota, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York, Rhode Island should all lose a seat.
How's that possible?
New York too. New York.
We should all be gaining a seat. Our population has actually gone up.
But when population shifts between states, primarily going from a blue state to a red state, like they've done with the California Exodus, I could see why certain states would lose while others would gain. Let's be honest.
We should be gaining a seat. We've actually got like quite a few.
Yeah, according to the this is all according to the 2019 census. So unless you have the 2020 census kind of added into this, you might not get a seat anytime soon.
Well, the reason the 2019 census is an official census. The official census comes every 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's this year, so we'll see. I don't know. The official census.
No, they actually, according to this, I know, theoretically, you're looking at the 2020, but they're really heavily looking at the 2019 as your shrinking of your states in that. So that going forward in the 2020, they'll be able to reevaluate and see where they can add or take away. But in this case, it's going to be based off of your previous, which is 2019, going into your new year. Because otherwise, you have to wait until the finalization of the 2020, which kind of puts it in 2021.
Webfetter has a good question. Wonder if they'll count the illegals.
Doesn't really matter. It's anybody who's showed up at the door and has said, "Yeah, I live here."
How many people live here? 40?
Apparently, there's not enough illegals in California or any of the actual, states that hold them that will show up to a door and say, "Yeah, I live here."
I heard a silly little rumor that apparently California is removing the option to say you are illegal.
Yeah.
They're trying.
They're trying. It won't work. They could be official. They could actually, because of that, their census could be proven to be false and then sent to oblivion, and then they lose a lot more. I mean, Yeah, because it's only legal citizens that you're supposed to count.
Yeah, you cannot count illegal citizens. So,
well, no, but
speaking of which,
they can try.
Now it's been sent to review to now it's being reviewed. Where I'm not sure, but it's being reviewed that the giving illegals driver's licenses may be wrong, maybe illegal, maybe somebody's getting in trouble.
Illegals can obtain a type of driver's license, but it's not a certifiable type.
But here's the thing:
basically, they're able to drive, but they're not able to use that for voting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, but that's just it. Is you want to have a different kind of driver's license for driving, and you're not legal? Fine. But we need to make sure that it's not being used for voting.
Oh, hang on. No, let me bring this up. So I've been trying to get my CDL for like the last couple months, and it's just been a pain in the ass. And it's taken me a long time to get to the point where I can actually go take the test. Because in order to take the test, I have to provide them with my social security card, a authentic birth certificate, 3 different types of utility addresses with my actual physical address on it, proving that I have a residence in the state, and a couple other things like that. So I had to bend over fucking backwards to prove, yes, I'm a resident.
No, you bend forward. You have to bend forward, make sure you greased up, and hope that Bobo doesn't have it too big.
Yeah. But it really surprises me because I know of a lot of not really illegals, but they haven't completed the registration process of becoming U.S. citizens that have the fucking CDL. And I'm sitting there going, I have to go through all this fucking bullshit to be able to go get my fucking CDL. But it seems like these people just get it on a silver platter. It's like, that's bullshit.
Yeah, and that's why the Dems are mad that Trump is trying to, make sure that people play by the same rules. They're like, no, we can't play by the same rules. Well, why not?
Because they can't win that way.
Yep. Because you can't win that way. You gotta cheat to try to win.
Well, depending on what you consider cheat. Take the advantage. Is that really a cheat?
I actually ended up getting into an argument with both my parents yesterday in arguing first started out with programs being taken out of schools. Like over the years, the decline of home ec and driver's ed and even the arts have been suffering. I've been noticing that the arts have been suffering since I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
But they keep throwing money at those sports. Well, my mom. Go ahead.
That's something I've noticed in my school too. Whenever I went to high school, our agricultural and tech ed programs were really lackluster and very, very, very outdated. But the sports team every other year got very new equipment and this and that. It's like me and a couple other people petitioned at my school to get better funding for the tech ed and agricultural programs. And we were successful because of some facts of how we built it. It's okay. Going forward, what is a average student? Your average student, not your football player, not somebody who wants to get in and play sports, but your average student in school. What they gotta use more? Are they gotta use equipment to play sports, or they gotta use knowledge and abilities that they can gain from agricultural techniques?
I have the answer to that, Sparky.
I got a 12-inch dick and a dozen roses. And a pickup truck.
Wait a minute.
That's every high school student.
Well, but here's
hold on.
Here's how it's gotten worse. All right, so let's say they throw money at the sports, right? And the argument is, well, the sports programs are the great equalizer because you have to win on skill, and it actually disproportionately benefits poor urban areas, and we know what that means. Okay, fine.
White trash. Got it.
Time out. I know. I can put this claim to bed very fucking quickly. Okay, so in my high school, I graduated in class of 32. Okay, so 15 of those were in the high school football program and other various sports. About 10 of those people went on to college. You know what? I make more money in the fucking trade-based program that I went to school for than any one of those fucks that went to fucking football and went to college for.
Well, hold on. I'm not done with this part of the story. Hold on. So, I pointed out to my mother. It's like, I'll take you at your word for that for now. But let's consider this for just a second. You've been experiencing these at your school. We've had the whole transgender bathroom issue, right? Well, trans want to use whatever bathroom they want, and they try to give them their own bathrooms instead. Your single stall, individual. No, we demand to be able to use the girls' bathroom because we identify as girls. Well, now with more sports, and especially academics kind of being forced to accept the whole transgender thing, it's no longer going to be the great equalizer that you think it is. You're going to have men and women playing against each other, where the men get to claim that they're women.
And changing the locker rooms with the women.
Yeah.
That's already happening in Illinois.
I said, you're going to have the females who benefit from the sports programs or cheerleading or whatever start to get kicked out as more and more quote transgender men participate.
Boys, girls, transgender.
You know how far that whole movement has gone at my neck of the woods in Oklahoma? It has not moved a single millimeter.
Well, because so the initial argument is that it's not based on academics. Performance in sports is not based on academics. It's like, well, first, number one, it should be, because your ability to participate in the sport should be dependent upon your ability to also succeed in your basic education.
Most high school sports are dependent on your academics. You have to have a certain grade point average in order to play the game.
But let's take
there's always around that, bro.
No, I know, but the rules already stated that the academics is a factor.
I agree. But let's go down this train of thought for just a second and say what is being said is true. Yes, it may not be based on academics, but pretty soon it's going to be based on financial, because financials are driven by politics. And what's the flavor of the month?
White trash.
Actually, I can't say this for anyone else, but I know a majority of schools in Oklahoma, if you had to include in the funding, a good majority of it actually comes in from the local Indian tribes, not from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And they get better funded from the tribes than they do from Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. And as well as and that's something that we have to figure out. Where is your tax-paying dollar really come from, and where does it really go? Depending on each state or area, you'll have either coming in from certain tribes because of their casinos and that they have. So they actually have more money than the actual state.
Oh yeah, a shit ton more.
And they'll put it in, and they don't care. At the end of the day, their main focus is whatever is going to bring in the most amount of money. If the arts program is going to bring in the most amount of money, then great. They're going to focus and make sure that all that money goes towards that department. But because the arts program does not bring in shit, because there's no competition in arts, there's no real, arts bowl or anything like that. It kind of takes away from this argument a little bit, because sports is based off of competition. Competition brings in a certain degree of eyeball count and revenue. So that's a huge factor. I'm not a huge person for sports in general, but even I can see the longevity of why even in the United States or even places like South Korea and that focus heavily on their sports, because it brings in revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Where your music program, your arts and things like that bring in very little or no revenue. So on a business level, sports be plenty.
Well, now couch potato sports are becoming a thing.
Which means that that's going to get another revenue coming in. So that means that all those nerds that are sitting on their couches or in front of their computers are going to be your next sports legends.
Yeah. Well, it also depends on the area demographic too. If it's a small local area, like I can say where I live at, it's a small demographic area. I think if you combine the total population of what the county I live in Oklahoma to a major city, I guarantee it's going to be a quarter the size of a major city anywhere else. So in my area, we focus heavily on, trade-based jobs, mostly agricultural-based jobs in my area.
Hmm?
And that's where a lot of funding comes from. Yeah, they get a lot of funding for sports and this and that. And I actually think the gateway needs to be set a lot higher for them. I'm not against it, scholarship programs, shit like that, for football and stuff like that. But I think if you're gonna go through that route, your grade point average has to be a lot higher than what anyone else's is. Because the gateway to get into playing football or basketball, any other sport like that, is a lot higher for an average person than somebody that's athletically capable. So your average student will have a disadvantage towards those people that's athletically inclined. So I think the bar to get those scholarships should be higher for them, because the scholarships can only be offered to them because they're athletically inclined, more so than what the average student is. So I think that bar just needs to be set higher for the GPA than what it is now. I'd be happy.
I don't know, that board is, that GPA thing is already skewed.
I know.
Because of a certain black quota that they want to throw around, which affects the Chinese students more so than anything else.
Well, no, I know of a lot of people I went to high school with. When they're in sports, they got access to all these freaking scholarships, and majority of them went to waste because the only thing they want to do is go play fucking football. But average student that had straight A's, straight A pluses and shit like that, really good in fucking high school, couldn't get access to shit for a scholarship.
I get it, but it comes back down to money making. I'm sorry, colleges and that are focusing on how much money they can bring into their business, which is education. And unfortunately, most nerds don't bring in a lot of revenue. If anything, they use more revenue.
And that's one of the big reasons why I'm a big advocate and huge supporter of vocational programs.
I, for one, cannot wait until we have meme leads.
Meme leads?
Meme leads. Think of an athlete, but with memes.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Well, that would actually require a level of intellect and wit.
I know, that's why I can't wait for them.
But realistically, honestly, this whole idea of everybody fixing, or at least trying to fix the educational quotas is going down a pointless endeavor. First things first, you got to fix education, and who's teaching it?
The Amish already did. It's called homeschooling.
I said, thank God, Oklahoma got rid of fucking Common Core.
Then from there, you can actually play around with.
I think Florida might be next if we haven't already.
I think Oklahoma got rid of Common Core like 5 years ago, actually.
You guys have Common Core, but Ohio started Core Knowledge, which was like the worst fucking thing ever.
Well, I mean, and I get how Common Core works. I get the principles behind it. But you don't have to give simple mathematics a complicated route to fucking solve them. I understand it gives the person learning it, to the student, the knowledge of how it's supposed to be broken down and how it's supposed to work. But you're complicating something that doesn't need to be fucking complicated.
No,
keep it simple, stupid.
No, they wanted to keep it complicated because they want to dumb down these fucking kids. They want these kids not to be able to do math. Is what
they
it is.
just want them to go into the cog machinery of industrial. That's it.
So who saw the recent Ladder with Crowder then, where he's talking about affirmative action being racist?
No, time out.
I don't need to see Ladder.
Oh, I saw it. Yeah.
No, time out.
In order to see that affirmative action is racist, I'm sorry. I don't
it is
think
racist.
That. But I agree with him completely that it is racist.
No, time out. I want to send this offer out because I know me and Man Squatch have talked a couple different times on Twitter about it, and both his view and my view are very different about Common Core. But if you're more than welcome to jump into chat and have this talk with us if you want. I mean, I have no issue with it. Actually, anyone who wants to jump in and talk about anything that we're talking about can jump into general chat, send me a message on Discord, or send me a message in the YouTube chat and just, hey, I want to jump in and talk about this. Let me know, I'll drag you in. We can talk about it. Because everyone has different viewpoints, and let's talk about them.
And isn't it funny how we're we're of the mind of talking makes things better as opposed to, the morality police. No, you have to do it our way or else you're a bad person.
Speak for yourself. I come from the generation you'd agree with me or I shoot you.
Man Squatch, I got Rogue in here. He debulls things enough. You don't have to worry about anything.
Look, if you're worried about being humiliated over on knowledge on Common Core, please come to the Canadian who's supposed to know fuck all about your states and seems to know more about what's happening in the United States than most of y'all.
Well, because there's nothing really going on in Canada, so who else are you going to look at?
Really, I mean, we
You're
kind of bored.
You are the nosy neighbor who sticks your face over the fence every
kind
time.
Of the younger brother who looks into you guys, kind of go, "What you doing?"
Or looks in the window. Hello, everyone.
Hey,
hello.
Man.
Hello.
Hey, Rogue, you know what a fake Russian is?
Whatever.
Nah, I don't want to know, but it's fine.
It's the Canadian version of a white Russian.
That's what I said. I didn't want to know, but that's fine.
You know now.
Yeah, now I know.
And knowing is half the battle.
Apparently it is. G.I. Joe. Yay.
G.I. Joe.
Anyhow, so
welcome
to the war room, Man Squatch.
War room.
It's nice to be here. How's everyone doing today?
We do great. So what would you bring into the idea of Common Core? Because from what I understand, there's a few positives and a lot of negatives for Common Core for the United States.
Most people don't even know what Common Core is because people have been talking about all these weird math problems, all this weird stuff. Common Core is none of that. That's just the textbooks that dumbasses wrote to meet the standards. Common Core is simply a list of what you're teaching. It has nothing to do with how it's...
Actually,
I beg to differ, but...
No, actually, hang on. I will agree with him. That is basically the idea behind Common Core.
That's the idea.
What was supposed to be a standardized of what everybody across the board from the west to the east is supposed to be teaching. That is simply that. Problem going into this equation, it doesn't factor that. It actually kind of gives you different elements of what they think you should be taught. Because now sex ed for transgenderism is part of the Common Core.
Actually, it's not, because Common Core is limited to math and English skills.
Yeah, but that doesn't... it's
that
also
equates into English. Transgenderism equates into his and her and English
Proper
pronouns.
But
So
none
it
of that
has been.
That's not. But that's not language arts.
Yeah, I know,
but
that's
not what the Common Core is.
No,
but they
but
put
I
it into
understand
language scores.
That's
They
what-
put it.
Yeah, but the wording that they've added into on certain states has become part of the Common Core initiative. This is the reason of why when you have a Democrat who's in lead, especially in a blue state, they restructure the book so it includes inclusiveness.
Okay, but that's the thing, though. It's no longer Common Core if someone goes along and changes it. They're doing something and then saying, now we're adding this.
Yeah, but the problem is it becomes common for all of the blue states, which makes it Common Core for them. All the red states don't have
Common
that.
Core is a brand name. It's not an idea. It's a list of things.
Yeah.
If someone else adds to it, they're making a new thing, which is perfectly fine to point out that that new thing is wrong. Just call it what it is. Don't call it Common Core because it's not.
Well, and unfortunately, this is what the initiative kind of falls back to. It's like you guys have to have that argument over what is Common Core listed and what isn't. And apparently no one's really having that argument because all they're saying is gender inclusiveness, it needs to be part of Common Core. That's the argument at the moment.
Well, they actually do have a list of what the Common Core is. I linked it for you.
But unfortunately, the system is so open to it. It is so open to interpretation that's where you get people who sit there and go, "Oh, as long as I stick within these guidelines, I can push whatever politics I want within my county's district."
Well, time out.
You have a lot of people who think like that in positions of power.
Right,
and I'm specifically talking about school board, district, and government.
All right, okay. I think we're getting off onto two different skews of arguments for what is. I think Man Squatch is talking about what the base principle of what Common Core is.
No, I can see the base principle of.
We're trying to take it towards what people are trying to utilize it as.
No, but that's like the common argument. No. That's like the common argument. Oh, that's not real socialism. Unfortunately, these are the ideas that still have led to millions and millions of deaths. Doesn't matter if you call it real socialism or not. And I'm not saying that Common Core is socialism, although you can make the argument that it's part of it.
The overall study of socialism. But up here in Canada, we don't have this idea of Common Core. We don't have the same principle. What is being taught in Ontario is completely different than what's being taught in BC. So we have different understandings, and we do have like a set criteria of learning of what needs to be a certain average, so you can actually graduate, the equivalency of a graduation. All right. Whereas you guys here trying to create this thing called Common Core. Great idea on paper, but in practice, not going to work out because
kind of like communism.
Yeah, it's on the same basis of it. Not only are you creating or trying to create a level playing field from one state or from one coast to the other coast, but you're also trying to homogenize your learning aspects so that everybody is supposed to have a one-size-fits-all type education. It doesn't work that way. Sorry. Your brighter students who are going to go through it faster are going to get bored easier and going to drop out.
So that's put in the dumb kids class.
Well, no, that's also the problem with attempting to feminize the teaching method, which is what is causing higher and higher fail rates for our young boys.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's call for what it is. Men and women don't learn the same way.
See, at the age of 12 is where you actually get the changes of how women and men learn, age 12. So up to that point, women and girls have the advantage, up to 12. Past 12, boys have the advantage. It's just a very standard it's a basic understanding of hormones and growth. Fortunately, women taper out by the hit 12, so they're good to go, and all of a sudden their education and everything else kind of peers out, they average out. Where boys in that, they kind of go in two different directions. They either remain very stupid or they get really smart very quickly. And does Common Core include that aspects? It doesn't. It doesn't change, the focal points of how quickly a person can educate themselves. More knowledge. It doesn't change the focal point on how quickly you can educate yourself. It actually bottlenecks you. You have to follow the basic standard.
What
you can't jump ahead. You can't. You're on the streamline of what needs to be. That is basically the idea of Common Core. No one gets an advantage.
All I'm going to say is this conversation.
Hey, everybody, we're all going to get laid.
Pretty much.
Well, my whole standard, well, not standard, but dislike of Common Core.
Sparky has standards?
Yeah, apparently Sparky has standards. I don't know how.
Have standards. No,
isn't he married?
Not yet.
He's not allowed to have standards.
Not yet, but
well, unless they're hers.
But no, it's like I've had a couple conversations with a couple of my old math teachers in high school, and their base job was to teach math to people, kids struggling and stuff like that. I can understand the principles of the math-based Common Core of how you get to the answer, but basic mathematics, how it was in school, wasn't how. It is about how you get to the answer, but it's also answering the problem. They were more concerned with how, if you got the answer or not. How Common Core sets it up, they want you to explain how you got to that answer. That just adds a lot more complications to trying to solve mathematics than what is going to help. I mean, I can understand getting to that point after you've understood the basics of math, not trying to understand that, then get towards the basics. That's why I have a disagreement with it.
Well, I just posted the Common Core math standards. Pick a grade. I mean, it's got grade 1 through 8, also kindergarten, and then high school divided into number, algebra, function, modeling. I mean, we can take a look at these. They're not what's in those books. Those books are just like the worst way of teaching what needs to be.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I've looked at your material. I've skimmed through it. I mean, you send me a link, I look at it. It's the same thing as Dracona sends me a link, I look at it, and then try to figure out how quickly I can get to the bleach.
Yeah. Yeah, Redford is correct. I mean, 15 plus running shouldn't take 30 lines to solve. And in Common Core standards, you only have one path to get to solving that answer. And if you don't take that path that they want you to take to solve that answer, you fail it. And that's why I don't agree with it.
You don't have a flexibility when it comes down to the idea of Common Core. As I said before, there's no flexibility. It's one standard, one ideal. If you go outside of that, you're pretty much fucked.
Again, I gotta point out, because this is a big thing. You're talking about how they're teaching. Common Core doesn't give a shit how you're teaching. It just says teach this. It doesn't say how.
Okay, well, I mean, okay.
Again, I get it. That's basically on Common Core principle, just on the basis of the idea. As I said earlier, it looks great on paper, but fundamentally, it's fucked. It does not work.
It's pretty much the same stuff that's been taught for decades, centuries. Just like organized into here you go.
All right, so you want to know how I usually solve my multiplication problems whenever I was in school? I learned how to recreate the multiplication chart, and that's why I usually did on my paper. I drew out a little box and I did a multiplication chart on it. Took me maybe like 4 or 5 minutes to write out. And as long as I got to the answer, there you go. I got to the answer. I used the knowledge and basis I knew how. If you used to do that on regular Common Core, how they implement it, not how it's supposed to be done, but how they implement it now, you fail. You failed that whole fucking process. Even though I came up with the answer, even though I got to the point, you still fail it. That's why I don't agree with it.
Are you talking about that one thing? Where it was identify like.
It
Okay, you guys
happens
talking over
multiple
each other.
times. I know what he's talking about. I ended up posting a couple videos about as a simple multiplication issue, and the student failed because he didn't go through the proper steps to get to the answer, and that happens
Because
more
the
so than
lesson
what you
was
think.
the lesson was on those proper steps. Here's how this works. They weren't asking you to They weren't asking the student to multiply. They were asking the student to demonstrate this property.
But that's just that's the problem, though, isn't it? It's for the older generation who learned how to multiply and divide differently. This adds unnecessary. The process itself. You said teach this. No, now what you're saying contradicts what you said. Where now they're saying you teach this way.
Oh no, you're misunderstanding. So it's not teach multiplication; it's teach how multiplication works.
No. Why is 5 plus 5 by 5 equal 15? Completely wrong on Common Core tests.
Well, if the question is, if on that it's like, are you doing 5 times 3 or 3 times 5? You want to understand the difference because when you get to algebra, it becomes important.
No, it is exactly the same. I'm sorry, but that is the same equivalent when you do algebra. Trust me, I've done algebra and I'm pretty good at it. It's one of my stronger suits.
Okay, well then I'll ask you this.
I know that your common core...
No. This is algebra. If 5 times 3 is 15, 3 times 5 is 15. A times B is 15. B times A is 15, right? But B and A, you don't know what they are.
But when you're multiplying A and B, doesn't matter if you multiply A to B or B to A, as long as the values of A and B are the same, respectively, it doesn't matter the order that you multiply them together.
No, time out. It does. If you have to go through it does if you have to go through and divide.
For 15, it doesn't matter. When we come down to the equation, let's say A is 5 and B is 3. Even if you flip it and you get A is 3 and the other one is 5, you're still going to equal out, 15.
But the point with the lesson is to understand what you're doing. Multiplication is repeated addition. So 3 times 5 is have 3, and you're doing that 5 times. So 3 plus 3.
The only time it would matter.
That's why it was wrong.
No. With algebra, no.
Pen, let him finish.
I'm done.
No. The only difference where it would actually matter with multiplication in the order that you do it is if you're multiplying fractions.
Actually, she is right on this one, but here's the other thing: you have to look at your first portion out of the 5 times 3 or 3 times 5. You're actually taking 3 and multiplying it 5 times, or adding it 5 times. With 5, you're adding it 3 times. That
was the lesson that people were not understanding.
But here's the problem: even if you do it that way, it's wrong. In Common Core, they reversed it.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. 5 times 3 does not equal 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. It's actually 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3.
5 times... No, that would be 3 times 5.
Correct, but not correct. But you'd be wrong.
They want you to actually add it.
Flip it. They want you to flip it.
Do it a certain way. So while
I've not ever seen any evidence of that.
There has been many different testing scores based off of that for the common score, especially in the blue states and that have proven this particular equation wrong.
I mean, yes, there's...
What are you saying, though, with that?
I'm saying that the people who are doing the what is considered the review of the testing and that have equated that this particular answer, 5 plus 5 plus 5, is completely done wrong. It should be 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, and so on.
You're going way past what I'm asking. What exactly are you trying to say with Like
I'm saying that at the time frame of this, a bureaucracy can change the pattern of how the answer is going to be.
That's not a Common Core issue. That's a bureaucracy issue.
But that's part of the Common Core problem.
Yes, that's why people are
they
mostly
could change
against
the rule set of what Common Core is going to be on a bureaucratic level, because this leaves that open to a state, a country, or a person to change how that individual is going to think.
That's completely independent of. I mean, that's
hang on. You may say that doesn't, but the problem is it does. It comes back down to the root of what I said earlier. On paper, Common Core, brilliant idea. A standard education for, a group of individuals that may or may not be very successful in life. Great idea. But in practice, worst idea ever. Reason of why is what I've just stated earlier. This idea of changing the rules at a whim will change what Common Core is. You can say that Common Core is the greatest idea when it comes down to textbooks and that. It could be implemented, if implemented correctly, it could be great. This is the same idea, this is the same argument that we can have with socialism, communism, and feudalism.
Okay, but here's the issue.
On paper, it looks great. But when you put it into practice, and that's where the issue is, putting this into practice, then you have people making shit up along the way. Now, if you had a rule set to go alongside with how, Common Core is actually produced and actually educated across the board without any politics come into play, that this is the standard that you have to teach beyond a shadow of a doubt, then maybe we can have a proper agreement here. But unfortunately, Common Core is taught differently in each area of your global United States.
Well, that first off, what you're describing is what's always happened with education. The people in charge of education get to decide what's going on. And second, you're basically blaming Common Core for being...
I didn't even blame Common Core for that, now did I? You're conflating that one. All I did say, on paper, Common Core, great idea. In practice, bad idea. Where did you get Common Core as the reason of why this is happening? From me.
You just said in reality it's a bad idea because...
In reality it's a bad idea, in paper it's a great idea. Do you realize that that's two different types? But you're automatically conflating that I'm saying the Common Core as a complete whole is bad. I didn't. I said on paper, it's a great idea, but in practice, that means that we're using it right now with the way how your government has this divisive nature. It's a bad idea. But maybe in the future, when you guys are not having the bickering about what is gender and what could be, a cause to reason of why Black people are not getting ahead in life, maybe you guys can, get past that first. And then figure out how to get an equal footing across the board. But until that actually happens, you actually have a proper adult sit-down conversation about the factor that your Black community is being pushed down because of bureaucrats that are in office thinking that they're doing good, or the factor that gender is being pushed even though it should not be. Maybe we should, focus on those things first before, coming across the aisle of how do we think we should re-educate our students.
So basically what you're saying is Common Core isn't the problem, it's the system that...
I've been saying that since I said that in the earlier my earlier opening for this conversation.
It's how the system's being implemented, not how it's supposed to be done. Like, I put in a basic math equation in the bottom. You can tell me if I'm correct or not. I can't remember if it's flipped one way or another way. But, like, if they ask you 5 times 3... equals 15. But they want you to write it out 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, 5 3s equals 15. Or if it's the other way around, 3 times 5, they want you to have 5 plus 5 plus 5 equals 15.
Again, I'm going to point out that the math, they didn't ask him to solve it. They asked you to explain what you were doing. That was the difference on that. They weren't saying solve this. They were saying explain what's going on.
But that's just when you force people to explain it a certain way, you're forcing them to learn it a certain way, as opposed to saying, here's here's the solution you need to get to. How do you do it?
But they're not asking how you get there. They're asking what you're doing.
No, they're not even asking. Man, they're not even asking how to. They're just putting down the basic problem and go solve it.
No, you're. Look, that's
no.
what
I've looked at
Stop. That's what happens when you're looking at the bottom of when you're looking at the question rather than looking at the instruction set that they always cut off the top of those tests.
And where's the problem in that one?
That's the thing. You're getting mad because you're expecting something different than what they're doing.
If you're going to have somebody answer a problem, give them the proper instructions.
Yes, they got the instructions, but when the thing goes viral, those part of the instructions are cut off.
Here's what I think on the whole situation, and I'll actually agree with Mansquatch a little bit. It depends on, like, if this was on a test, it depends on how they were taught in trying to learn how to do the equations for that test. So, yes, if they want you to explain what you're doing and how you get to this problem by, explain how you get to this, how you explain you get to this answer. I can see that. However, there's multiple ways you can get to that answer. And that's inherently why I say it's just a little too complicated than what it needs to be.
So you're focusing on getting to the answer. You're focusing on solving rather than understanding the method.
All I know is Common Core is Common Core until it fails, and then it's no longer Common Core. Like socialism.
Well, time out. No, I'm actually liking this conversation here, so... It's whatever.
Well, here, let me try and make a truck metaphor for you, Sparky. Trying to do this off the top of my head. Let's say you had like an instruction manual that explained why you do a procedure a certain way for safety reasons or compliance reasons or something, even though there's 50 different ways of doing it. And then on your truck mechanic test, you just go ahead and instead of answering the question why you do it, you just write a little essay on how you do it.
Does
that metaphor make sense?
That's actually preferred in the field. In the field, they want you to go as less complicated as possible. They give you all right. So break down simply. For a certain issue in a truck, like it gives you a fault code. It gives you a breakdown of a troubleshooting list to go through and follow. And as you follow that troubleshooting list, you don't have to go through the entire troubleshooting list. You go through the list until you get to what the actual problem is. And if it means that you can skip or bypass certain steps, that's better off for you because you're eliminating unnecessary time needed to figure out the issue. That's kind of how I'm looking at mathematics. In mathematics, it's the easiest way to get to the answer. How I was always taught math in school is like 3 times 5 times 3 equals what? It's 15. How you got to that answer, it didn't really matter. It's just, could you get to the answer? There's multiple ways you can get to the answer. When you start putting instruction sets in there for students, and I don't necessarily disagree with it, because I can see the benefit of solving it that way. Especially had to get into division. Because when you get into division, it really matters where those equations are. But that's not division, it's multiplication. So, like what Red Feather says, you're putting too many unnecessary steps in, and that's what I don't agree with.
Sparks, bring up what I just shared with you with the fuzzy math.
Yeah,
you sent me like 5 DMs.
Well, Penn, I want to explain why. Sparky's is the civilian world of commercialism where they want to figure out the fastest, cheapest way in order to make a buck.
Correct.
And do it right at the same time.
Because that's the vast majority of the population, though.
Where they're training for government workers, where in government we want to do the most work possible without actually doing any real work.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're training. They're trying to train government workers.
Yeah.
Because at the time, that's where we were heading towards a government. We wanted to head to a socialist type system, which is where this would lead. Because this is how things are done in socialism, the most complicated way possible to create as many jobs as possible.
Yeah, because everybody works for the government after a while.
Yeah.
'Cause,
But then Trump came along and said, "Fuck you," and this is now useless. And now this
The fuzzy
is just,
math?
Yes.
the fuzzy math, the fuzzy English, everything.
Okay, hang on.
No, but look, Jem, I also sent it to you.
I see it. I'm looking at it right now.
Like that's like 5 or 6 additional steps that aren't needed when teaching a child how to add those things together. Like, why?
You know, it just shows me it's one size fits all, but there's never, it's, you know, socialism is a one size fits all government for everybody. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a one size fits all anything. Ever.
Correct. There's
Except
never
for condoms.
No,
even
even
not
those,
even
you know,
condoms. No,
that's why you have
sorry.
magnums.
Oh, fuck.
And
actually, no, they have the mini. They've got the
I could
average.
show
and
you,
they've got
but I
the
don't
Magnum.
think YouTube allows that. So.
Okay, so I've got displayed on the screen what Penn sent me. I'm showing a little bit about DMs, so I'm sorry about that.
It's fine. It's whatever. It's not
She
like
sent
you're
you those dick
doxing
pics,
anybody.
didn't she?
Yeah.
Got a 12-inch dick and a dozen roses.
I mean, she went all over town looking for that too.
Okay, alright, so I just now popped up on the stream. So, fuzzy math. The Common Core math standards say, serve to make simple mathematics more complicated. Here's an example of the type of new math many parents and teachers have been criticizing. Add 26 plus 17 by breaking apart the number to make 10. To make a 10, use a number that adds with the 6 and 26 to make a 10. I can agree. If they're wanting you to go through these steps, it's really freaking
Like,
this is
again,
why private
Common
schools
Core
don't
doesn't
teach Common
list out
Core.
any steps.
No,
But
this is why they don't
I
teach
could
it,
simplify that right for you. Okay, so if you want to add 26 and 17, well, you take 4 from the 17, make the 26 a 30, and then you add 13 to 30, you get 43.
Okay, here's the thing. You just said it. Well, that's not really Common Core. Again, we get into the
you
idea.
just
It's
done
not
fucked
Common
up.
Core if
Hang
I
on.
don't believe it's Common Core.
No, I mean, I think the thing, there's nothing in the math things that say how to do things.
And again, it comes to the socialism. It's not really socialism if it failed.
No, it's not really Common Core.
It's not really
not
Common
literally
Core.
listed
No,
in the Common Core.
Literally
There's
what
a
Common
list.
Core is. Yes, there's a
Show me
list.
on
It's the same with communism. There's a list. It's not communism until this happens, you know, and it's not communism when this happened. Common Core is the same fucking thing as socialism. It's just
Common Core has a list of things. Show me
Jim. I will agree. It is a list of certain requirements of how you want to do it.
You produced the list.
I did.
And let's go through it. No, you didn't. Produce the list so that we could all link to it, and then we can go through it.
Well, he did.
That's the
He
second
did
time I
provide
put it. I put the English and the math.
He did
There's
put
a
it in.
second
And if
time.
you guys were paying attention to it, it was in the it was in the chat.
I'll put it in the Discord too.
Yeah, please do
Okay.
so. But realistically, I've looked at through most of this Common Core stuff and the requirements and that. Again, it is just a simplified word problem solving structure for the most part. If you follow
who
the
here has a parent or an aunt or a relative that was in teaching who actually taught this shit when it came out?
Oh, I
and
know.
said, this will fucking destroy our fucking youth and education.
Yeah, no, because of the factor, the way
And my
how
aunt did.
it comes back down, it's a word solving equation. It depends on how you word things. With the instructions, will change the overall practice of what you're going to be doing going forward. Common Core, like I said earlier, on principle, seems like a really good idea because it's a straightforward, basic program of what should be a criteria that meets up at graduation level. Problem, the way how it's being practiced and the way how it's being, constructed through either bureaucrats or other educational factors that makes it very troubling going forward.
So socialism.
Let me make this point clear. Just moving forward, I completely agree that the way they're going about it is stupid. All I'm doing is just being very anal about this, pointing out that you're mad at what's going on, but you're blaming the wrong thing. You're blaming a term rather than the execution.
That is again.
I mean,
socialism.
No,
Socialism is the same thing. You're blaming it on, on.
You're blaming it on the people who enact it rather than you're blaming the sheet of paper that says socialism is this rather than blaming the people who enact it. It's like no. That's the problem. Is there's a particular type of person who is drawn to actually implementing socialism, and they fail at it the same way every single fucking time.
Okay.
Same with Common Core.
All right. You go. So let me step in here and give my 2 cents on. I can understand why, and I can understand that there is a use for this. There really is a use for it, but there is no use for it in basic mathematics. And advanced mathematics course or anything like that, I can see this. But teaching kindergartners or third graders or fourth graders,
what grade level was that math problem from anyway?
I actually don't know. I mean, this was
grade 4.
And that's
where that makes sense, though. That's where you want to start learning how things work.
Actually, at grade 3, I learned how
Jim, hang on, guys. Remember, Canadian in the room here, who doesn't have Common Core throughout all of its provinces. Who should have it because we're a socialized country. We don't have it.
Well,
there's a problem if you want it, but we don't have it.
You're already socialist. You don't need it.
No. We have we follow the old principles of math.
Yeah.
It's why our educational system is in a higher level and standards than the American system.
Yes.
Right. Your American system of math is trying to go into Common Core, where no socialist country that I've ever seen has ever adopted it. Why you guys are trying to?
They're trying to dumb us down enough to get into socialism.
I disagree with that, because even the socialist types who are getting into more of the democratic levels of government, getting away from socialism as a whole, we have never gone to that level of trying to pretty much put everybody in government. We know that's an ineffective way of doing things. We need people in the fields, as in being farmers and that. We need people in certain automotives and other things like that. We need diversity. In order for you to get a diverse economy, you can't have everybody in one spot.
I'll agree with Rogue on that one, and I actually agree with Mansquatch on that one. As far as the whole government intervening and socialism and this with Common Core, I mean, the best way I can do and say is show the receipts on that one. I haven't seen it. I don't know if I think that's kind of a blown up theory to go down.
I'm not saying that Common Core is socialist. I'm saying it's like socialism in the way it's Common Core until it fails.
Well, you're also kind
of like socialism.
It's socialism until it fails, and then it's not.
That's
really
what I'm saying.
But that's also conflating the two.
The problem with that. Problem with saying it's like that, making it the socialism till it's failed things, they're not even okay. So a socialist would say, "Let's nationalize this." Crap, it didn't work. That's not real socialism.
My wife, who's a teacher, brought up a interesting fact. It's for commoners, which is in the title, Common Core. It's for commoners.
Yeah,
because you'll notice private schools don't teach this.
Yeah, so you're still going to have your elitists because of the factor that as for it's meant for, again, Common Core is meant for a practice standard for those who are going to go from whatever high school into job market, and they're going to be mostly working in a manufacturing district. They're not going to be working into government. Anybody outside of that is going to go to the elite schools. Yeah. So basically, you're creating a higher level of socialism than I've ever seen in any of the socialistic countries.
We're trying to basically remove the middle class from experience.
All right. Let me chime in for this last part, and I'll keep quiet until you guys are done. What? But when it comes to mathematics, and when it comes to teaching kids, why I truly stand is I believe in teaching the kids what they need in order to obtain a job. With my job, I do a lot of mathematics when it comes into like converting fractions to decimals, converting units from one set of units to a different set of units, because Packard engines use metric Sometimes you gotta convert standard to metric. Sometimes you gotta convert metric to standard. A lot of times we utilize programs to do that. Doesn't mean we do not know how to do it. We know how to achieve the answer to get to it, but we also use calculators too. So
I mean, it's 2.15 centimeters to the inch. How do you do that in your head?
You can't. And
well, you can, but you have to be.
You can, but all right. So I'll say for simplistic reasons, on a Paco engine, it has to be tore down and it has to have a rebuild done because a liner dropped. So that means the block has to be cut. You have to cut that block. You can only cut it 2 times. One at 25 thousandths of a millimeter. Second time at 50 thousandths of a millimeter. You go past that 50 thousandths, you buy a new block. That is expensive. And you gotta do advanced mathematics when you go through and you measure the liner deck to what you need to cut it with to the liner that's gotta go into it. The most important thing is to know how to get to the answer, not how to go through getting the answer. Getting the answer is irrelevant. It's getting to the answer. So again, this is why it comes down to why I think Common Core is unnecessary to a point if you're trying to get to the answer. Now, okay, if they want you to explain how to get to the answer, that's a different thing. But if they're expecting students to get to this answer, but go through these complicated steps to get to this answer, to me, that's absolutely fucking stupid. And that's my bottom line with it. I mean, and that's how I feel. And that's how I was taught. So, I mean, I understand where Common Core comes into place and it's good. I also understand where it can be a little ridiculous at times.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Step brutal system.
Okay. Well, that's all I'm gonna say on it. If you guys want to continue on talking about it, go right ahead. I'm gonna sit here and listen.
I don't know. My wife just came in here and explained to me it's like creating basically a pyramid system where you got the elites on top, and then you're creating a bigger lower class in order to fill in the jobs that nobody wants. And like Rogue said, essentially, together people who are going to go directly into the job market. I kind of thought about that, and it's like, okay, that makes sense. That actually does make sense.
Makes a lot of sense because the reason of why the Common Core was designed is it's because of the fact that they know that not everybody's going to be within the elite circle. So if you don't have money, or do you have a background with the ability of gaining money, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be part of the slumdogs, in the corner somewhere. You might luck out, might get a grand ticket to get to be fast tracked to the upper echelon, where you can actually get your kids to be better than what you were. But realistically, you're just going to be trained to be a cog, a machine in the cog. That's it. You're done. That's socialism. Actually, that's communism at the highest level. You're being trained to learn how to pull a lever.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Henceforth,
even in Canada, we know that that's wrong.
Wrong, yeah. We know it's wrong too, but our government doesn't give a shit. Our democratic government.
And again, it comes back down to, can I blame the actual the practice of what they were trying to do to try to get a nationalized standard testing figured out where it's equational, where in California it has the same that it does like in Illinois or something. But to qualify you to graduate. Great, that makes sense. That's basically what the original concept was. It's qualifications that you would need in order to equivalent graduation across all of continental United States.
What's really scary though is we're gonna have Amish kids that are smarter than our fucking,
I know, which is really weird. But that was the overall goal. Goal changed the moment you brought bureaucrats to the equation. Yeah. This is why I said, on paper, Common Core looks really great. But the moment you put it into practice and you bring bureaucrats, and again, bureaucrats are lovely people who don't know when to leave things alone, they're going to change the concept of what Common Core is supposed to be. Now they're going to put in agendas, and now they're going to put in little filibusters that need to be done. Well, I don't like this wording because, a man can be a woman, and a woman can be a man. So now we've got to make sure that gender pronouns are neutral. Okay, great. That's another aspect that comes into the equation. Oh, well, now we got to make sure that the Black community is able to pass this requirement. Okay, great. We got to make sure that the Asians are brought down to the same level as, the Black community, because they seem to be the medium on the entire thing, because the Hispanics are weaker than the Black community, but the white community is a little bit more dominant than the Black community. And so we've got to take the two extremes and bring them down the center. You see how this works.
Oh yeah.
So now you're adding racism to the equation of Common Core. Brilliant idea.
And that's where we're at right now.
That's how we get socialism involved. With the similarities of socialism to the. Well, eventually you're right. It does
you're going to have people being executed for not following a certain degree of rules and standards, and execution isn't just meaning by killing somebody outright. It means that destroying their entire career, so they're unable to get a job anywhere. So technically, you get executed.
Let me bring this question up then. Is that what's actually happening, or is that what's speculated on what's happening?
No, that's in some cases it's actually happening, in other cases it's being speculated to happen.
Based off of the examples of where it's actually happened so far.
So, for example, in California, it's actually happening where certain people, if they don't teach the proper standard of a Californian version of Common Core, your career in California, no matter whereabouts in the educational system, is killed to a point where you are ostracized and incapable of getting a job within any of the blue states.
Which probably gets you an instant job in a red state.
Yeah. Which is what's happening. So that's why you're seeing, people kind of jumping across state lines to go in from blue states to red states because of the factor and the fear that they're going to lose their job. The educational system in blue states has dropped down severely to a point where makes the rednecks in Earl, whatever red state you can pick,
let's say Oklahoma,
very intelligent.
Because Oklahoma's full enough of rednecks.
but again, I said pick a red state of your choice. It does. You can pick whoever you want to pick. Fine, I don't care. But it makes that the people from quote unquote the South more smarter than the people quote unquote from the North.
Okay, this is funny. I'm looking at this algebra for Common Core, and they actually have an impossible answer as one of their explanations as being right. And it's impossible for this to be. It's 2x plus 1 equals 0. That's impossible. No matter how you look at it, that is impossible in math.
What page on that is? Or what page is that on?
That is on algebra, and they're explaining it, and I'm like,
high school algebra?
Like high school algebra. But here's
there's like all these pages here, so I want to look at it.
It's on equations and inequalities in the high school algebra introduction. And I'm looking at this, and I'm looking as like not a whole number. The solution of x equals 0, as there is no solution. That is an impossibility. That there's no way that in any way you do it, 2x plus 1 equals 0. There is no way that happens in any form. Because basically that is 2 times x plus 1. And in no solution does that ever equal 0, no matter what you put in there.
Hey, you know what? I actually got a brilliant idea. Time out. Let's
unless you put a negative, but then it would be negative x.
No, let's get somebody else in this, because I've actually heard Infallible Fowls, some of his input on some of this stuff. If you want, you're in the Discord. You're more than glad to jump in if you want. I think you're still in the Discord. You should be.
Yeah, 2x plus 1 equals 0?
Yeah, you're still in the Discord. Jump in if you want.
No, okay. It's on introduction. Scroll down expression. Okay, go to introductions to high school algebra, the introductions page. Then scroll down to expressions, past expressions to equations and inequalities.
I see.
And go down to the fourth.
Some equations have no solution in a given number system.
But why?
Have a solution in a larger system. For example, the solution of x plus 1 equals 0 is an integer, not a whole number. The solution of 2x plus 1 is 0 is a rational number, not an integer.
Yeah, I know that, but I know they're using that, and I get that. But at the same time, it's just they're trying to make this more complicated than what it is. They really are, because this is not how this works. I could go. God damn it, I learned this in college, and I don't want to have to go back into my brain. But
hey,
I learned this 20
man,
years ago in college, and it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
They're using it's just like it's. You know how we explain this in math? It's
almost like they're trying to use a Socrates version of mathematics.
Yes. Okay, there you go. But I'm looking at this and it's like, no, this is just what we are taught is like, okay, this is impossible. This is not going to happen, and there's no answer for this. Yes, and that's it. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. And now they're doing this, adding this shit on. What you're doing is taking math and just. Oh my fucking! It pisses me off because math is already hard enough, and it was hard enough for me back in high school and in college when I had to learn advanced calculus. If you teach this shit, you are going to remove so many fucking people from the ability to go to college, let alone to even trade schools. That is fucking retarded.
That is the basics right
there.
Oh,
I know that is what it's supposed to do. Yeah. But
you want to debate me on communism? If I had you're not debating me on communism. We both agree that communism is a flawed idea. I think the idea here, infallible, is to come on this side to talk about Common Core.
Yeah, Common Core is what we're talking about.
We're not talking about anything about socialism, communism, the right or wrong.
It's
but
Jim
we are
Max
talking about Common Core.
Yeah, it was Jim Max and Penn bringing that up about communism and stuff like that.
Well, the thing is, I wasn't trying to conflate it or anything. I was just trying to say Common Core is like socialism in the way of.
Yeah, I can understand.
It's Common Core until it fails.
No, hang on. Fal, I can't remember.
Socialism until it fails.
I can't remember, Fal. Were you pro or against communism? I can't remember. It's been about 2 or 3 months since I last heard you. I've heard you debate. What was it? I think it was Akigen and a couple other people on it. I just can't remember where your standing was.
I mean, let's put it this way. I can debate you on either end of that aspect, whether for or against the reason why communism could work on paper for the most part, whereas I can also equate to why it fails. Keep in mind, I'm from Canada, a very democratic, socialistic country for the most part. We have a lot of English or Old English ideals that are in here, but we also understand the rudimentary problems with communism, feudalism, and a few others. Because again, British.
Yeah, it was socialism.
Well, yeah, but I can also bring a lot of historical reasons to show why communism just doesn't.
I'm gonna go take a shit.
Hang on. What was that again?
I could also provide a large amount of historical examples throughout time and space that demonstrate why communism crumbles so quickly unless you put a very rigorous religious background behind it, aka a monastery.
Yeah, you need to have a religious control aspect over it. It's the same thing which happens with certain areas of democracy, depending on the tactical democracy that you guys choose. It needs to have a religious behind. Well, almost any form of social structure needs to have a religious intervention in some way in order to keep the people in place. Now, whether it be with an iron fist or with a velvet glove, it's questionable either way, but you need religion in order for you to ensure that society will continue with certain practices that are required in order for your idea to continue. For example, a Christian or a Catholic or Christian-based background is really focused on the family structure and making sure that you procreate within, the certain means. Whereas,
but simply, you have to have faith that your system works, or else it won't work.
Correct. That works. So, higher power. The moment you bring in atheism in anything,
but that doesn't mean
atheism doesn't
blind faith either.
I know, but.
Well, it helps if the faith is similar, because
it does help that the faith.
If you don't believe the same thing, then you're gonna go in different directions.
When you look at it, because Judaism, Muslims, as well as the Islamics, the Hebrews, as well as your Christianites, they all have the same basic fundamentals from the same basic vein of the tree. The only is they branch off in different directions, but they all are very unique that they can actually coexist with each other on every level. Problem is when they go to extreme, that's when you have a problem. So yeah, a moderate version of Christian could work alongside with a modern Jew and Muslim.
The modern Jew.
Subscribe to that magazine anymore.
But again, you'd be considered a modern day Jew or a modern Jew there, Pen.
Yeah, I know.
So same thing. So basically, that aspect, the moment you modernize and making sure that everybody's on the same page, doing what they're supposed to do, whether it be praying 5 days or 5 times a day or whatever, or 3 times or every Sabbath or whatever it is, they're praying to whatever God that has been redubbed for their version of a belief system.
This might be a little obscure, but do modern Jews get worried when a cow goes Super Saiyan?
Yeah, it's true. They do. They do get pretty worried.
When a cow goes Super Saiyan?
Yes.
You know, the golden calf.
Oh.
Yeah.
I completely... Okay, fine.
You completely missed it. Wow.
So, wait, no, time out. Does this mean Frieza was a Jew?
I'm going to give you an
basically,
example of why Common Core is so bad. In my school before Common Core, 50% of the kids who graduated went to college. The other 50% went to either technical scopes or directly into the job market. Guess what happened when Common Core graduates started to happen?
I would say that maybe you're looking at 5% actually went to college and the rest of them went to either some degree of job marketing.
Oh, no. 5% did, about 5 to 10% went to college.
Okay, I see.
That's a huge drop off. The rest became slightly employed, temporarily employed, or unemployed immediately. Until the mines opened. And then they started working in the mines again, which had not happened in my hometown for almost 50 years.
Yeah, basically, Common Core is the structure of a slave employment.
Yes.
We know that.
They opened up the mines again just in time to feed these fuckers and keep them alive. Just so happened to line up. And guess where Common Core was originally started and tested? In my hometown.
No, I kind of figured. Anyways, what were we going to say there, Sparkles?
I was going to say, is the stream still going? Because I just got a message saying chat disconnected, unable to connect.
I'm not
seeing it, sir.
I am seeing your stream. Let me jump into
I'm seeing your lovely face with
Is your router
glasses and some weird little...
I'm still talking to you guys.
Maybe you've been replaced by an impersonator.
I kind of did a re-update of the stream and looks like it's fine.
Oh, nope, you're still going.
Okay.
I can see your happy little face.
Val just jumped in. The sub unmute's lifted. You have to unmute yourself.
Are there people here now? I mean, really?
Yeah, that's another person. Infallible Val. He's actually...
There was another one, but he left.
It was Drakenef. He got bored with the topic. Trust me, that's what happened.
Well, he wanted to go sleep. It's still too early for this dragon. He works nights.
Well, does he work them or eat them?
He's a pizza boy. Of course, he eats them and works them.
All right, there you go, Val.
We wait. I don't know if I want to wait. I'm getting tired.
Why are you getting tired?
It is past your nap time, isn't it, Rogue?
Every hour is my nap time.
Huh? Yeah,
I've really got much to talk.
You should be able to change that from push to talk to... I just gave you a role to be able to use this, so...
God damn it.
Okay, that's better then.
Yeah, that sounds better. What's up, man?
I don't know. Is it supposed to sound worse?
From what I heard, you kind of sound like Orson Welles.
Not really close, but I give you that similarity.
Oh no, Infallible Fella, he's a unique individual to talk to. I've had plenty of conversations with him.
I like unique individuals, especially if I get the bash him over the head.
That is the nicest way anybody's ever called me special.
Hey, at least I'm not gonna sit here and yell at you in a Discord.
You
I mean, does he have a button?
So very special.
I got a 12-inch
Really?
dick and a dozen roses.
Alright, Jim Max, time out. No. If you're gonna use that, use the actual clip. Don't use a fucking recording, because I can tell you, that sounds like shit, okay?
I know it does. It's the best one I could find, is the sad part.
No, you want to know something? That is the best one you can find. Here you go.
I'm lazy, and that's the best one I can find.
Here's this.
I got it.
I had a better one, but I don't know what happened.
You know, Sparky, all you have to do is just send him that audio clip and tell him.
I have the soundtrack. I just uploaded the soundtrack to my fucking soundpad. That's all I did.
Yeah, I know. Just send it to him or give him a link or something. It'd be a lot easier. I mean, it's like a button.
All right.
It's like a button.
Anyways, guys.
Got shit all over him.
Guys, come on.
Max.
Let's cut the sound.
I couldn't even hear Infallible here. What were you saying there?
I was saying you guys are common coring soundboarding right now.
I've got a special button though.
Muffin button?
That's right. Got a muffin
Best
button.
I got a special button too, but I'm not allowed to play because it's too long.
I thought it was
You
more like
cannot
a
play with
lever.
that button on air.
All right, ban on soundboards for the next 15 minutes, okay? Sup, guys?
I'm gonna go take a shit.
I'll kick you, guys.
So what did you want to talk about, Fowl?
It all started on a midnight stroll through the woods. The air was clear. The moon was full. I was dying to sink my teeth into something.
Anywho, where were we going on this one?
I think we're talking about soundboards.
Anyways, so outside of soundboards, nuts. So we were going to be, talking about Common Core again. All right, here we go. Let's do it.
Can we just get off the Common Core? I think someone's going to commit suicide here soon.
Who gets off on Common Core?
I do have the squirtable lube.
Oh God.
So if you hear a lot of then you know that.
Well, no, I actually got a question. Why did you? Because I believe we were talking about socialism, not communism. Why do you think we were talking about communism?
I don't know, because I was going to change the subject too.
No, I kept on socialism is communism in my head, and I kept on undefinably saying the two.
So communism is a type of socialism.
Yeah.
That's just an order of. That's just an organizational nitpick, though.
Yeah,
it's like saying a truck is a kind of an automobile.
And that Eli's new electric truck is a truck.
Yeah. Technically,
does it have a bed in it?
Technically, in the automotive field, it is considered an automobile.
I mean, it literally goes on its own.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, unfortunately,
you don't need to tie a horse to it. Well, I mean, have you guys noticed that like 100 years ago, a horse pulled the cart? Now the cars pull the horses, and they get put.
Hey, go to Amish country. You'll find that's wrong.
I went there wrong in Amish country. They don't have any buttons or mustaches.
No, they have buttons and mustaches. They just don't have the button that you want.
See, now I'm trying to figure out what an Amish porn statue would look like. That's like the sound of one hand clap.
Like I said, go to Amish country. You'll see all different types. Hey, you know what I saw that was hilarious? I saw an old Amish guy on a tri-bike just pedaling along in like -5 degree weather. Greatest thing ever.
Did they have bikes in the Bible?
Yes, they have foot scooters too.
Guys, you want to know what's sad? There's actually
you mean hoverboards?
There's actually 2 Amish communities like 10 miles down the road from my house.
Wait,
are they at war?
No, they're not warbirds. There is a lot of signs that says "Watch out for horse and buggy," and they are correct. Watch out for horse and buggy.
Sparky, did President Martin Van Buren force them to go on a trail of like Amish tears to go to Oklahoma?
No, they left because it was too expensive to buy shit in Ohio.
You know I'm Cherokee.
And Pennsylvania. Seriously, that's why they left and went there.
There's still some. I had a donut the other day. Amish make really good donuts. What?
Hey, they make really good popcorn too. I've showed Sparky.
Oh, God. Again with the popcorn.
Hey, that popcorn was awesome, and you wanted some too. You know it.
Yeah. You salivating and dozing off at the same time. We all know that.
Yeah.
You'd think they just make muffins and sell them to us and call them English muffins.
Yeah. I like my popcorn. I like falling asleep in it. I like causing trouble with it. I like stirring the fucking shit pot with it. So forgive me. I love my popcorn.
Muffin button.
I love my popcorn button.
Hey, Sparky, I found out a new way. You take a paper bag and you just pour the kernels in from a regular thing, and you can popcorn that way.
Okay.
It's on the internet. You don't have to buy it for $2 a bag anymore. That's what I'm saying.
I buy it for like I got a $2 bag that's like that freaking big. So
how big is that? Can you
You'll see on
conflate that with the size of your hands? How long and wide it is?
Like a Dorito bag.
He once bought a bag of popcorn that was this big.
And long.
Well, I keep forgetting. I've got like a 20-second delay on my streams.
Neat.
So you paid $2 and I could pay 10 cents for a bag that big. Congratulations. You lose.
Ooh.
No, you don't have to buy store-bought popcorn. You can actually grow corn.
Yeah, I know.
I've done that before.
It requires a
I was a young
corn.
boy when I did that. And then I popped it in a popcorn maker.
A young boy.
That was a little bit more.
You really seen My Chemical Romance?
Problem here.
Yeah.
Good goal.
Is it really a romance if you have to use chemicals?
I think that would be called a date rape.
Well, technically, any romance involves chemicals, especially in your body.
Hi.
There's only like 2 songs they do I actually like. So the Black Parade.
The act of love is technically just a chemical in your brain.
Oh, if it gets to the brain, you're in the wrong place.
You got it.
Oh wow. Okay. Pin
Sounds like someone found her button.
Pin, put the jackhammer up.
What are you doing, Pan? And why should be concerned?
And what toy are you playing with?
I was in a hole. And all of a sudden,
she's playing video games.
Are you playing 7 Days to Die
without us?
I'm gathering resources. I'm gathering resources. Fuck off.
How dare you?
What's that sound? I thought someone else was in the hole.
How dare you? I was in a hole, and there was a train of zombies that just kind of walked in.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a train of zombies in Pennsylvania.
How dare you?
Pin like
playing with the train is.
I suppose I deserved it.
You walked into that one. What are you
Yes, I
talking
did
about?
walk into the hole. Yes.
Let me make surgeries to help reduce that.
Oh boy.
I'm okay. I just don't have a throat anymore.
All right, Jim.
You're not okay. You're mentally imbalanced, hence with why you're part of GNF.
Yes, okay.
And somehow Sparky keeps bringing us here. I don't know why.
Well, you keep jumping in, so I mean.
I was gonna say we keep showing up, and he just leaves the door wide open.
But again, I like the open door. The door is open. It says it has candies, but I never eat the candy.
Just to be mentally okay, it's far less fun.
Well, Rogue, he likes to have his own capitalist little business going on the side from your, socialist government. So,
fuck, I'm not making any money from this shit, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
By the way, you can donate to Sparky's GoFundMe at no.
I don't have a GoFundMe, damn it.
You want to donate to Sparky's GoFundMe? That we're going to be
Speaking
setting
of which,
up Patreon?
I still need to talk to Antoine.
That's still a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea.
I think Antoine's mad at me, by the way.
Why is Antoine mad at you?
I think he's still mad over me on the video game.
You want to explain that one, or you just want to leave
Fallen Order. He's still mad that I said Fallen Order is not that great of a game because
It's not that great of a game. Even I can tell you that. I played it
because of his ignorance. Oh, Rogue just jumped into 7 Days to Die
because I'm going to kill somebody.
Good luck.
No! So Pin is not only gonna have a train of zombies, she's gonna have an orgy of zombies.
Why? Don't do it. Don't do it.
You do realize I can also do it without even being in the game, right there, Pat?
Please don't do it.
I can do it in the game, or I can do it out of the game. Which would you prefer?
You can do it all night long.
Okay, so we've been streaming for
just get back to
about.
safety, and I'll get out of the game.
Alright, guys. We've been going for about almost 2 hours. Do we want to change the topic to something else?
Please,
Talk
God.
about something else?
I thought we were talking about Amish.
How about
30 more minutes?
the whole thing of Star Wars? That's always a good fiasco now. I love this one.
Wait, it's still 84% by all the people.
It gets even better. Apparently, according to the Access Media, we're the problem.
The people are the fans.
We are the fans. We're the problem. Star Wars. It's almost like they're gamergating the Star Wars fandom. It's hilarious.
Oh, those aren't really fans. Those are just
that's basically what some of them have just come out and said in a roundabout way. Yeah, those people, they're not really the fandom. You don't need them anymore. The Star Wars fans are
don't need to be your audience.
Star Wars. I was like, wait, what? I thought the Star Wars fans were the reason why Star Wars was still kicking around to a point where you guys wanted to butcher it. We kept it alive with having the extended universe being an accepted thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Some of those books were
to get off
really
his
good.
fucking ass. Go ahead. What?
Well, yeah, I was saying some of those books were really good, and then I watched The Phantom Menace, and I'm like, you destroyed it all.
Look, some of those parts of The Phantom Menace was fine. I'm going to defend that one for a while. Look, it's part of the Lucas original treatment that he blossomed together. And like it or not, we got what we got. The problem with the Lucas version of The Phantom Menace is the fact that he not only directed it, wrote it, but he also produced it, everything else. He could have started it; would have been fine.
Well, here's what The Force Awakens made me think about The Phantom Menace and Clone Wars. At least those were new stories with new ideas, exploring kind of new things in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Force Awakens, Smokey and the Bandit, Last Jedi, and The Rise of Palpatine.
I haven't heard of it called that way. That's actually pretty ingenious.
Yeah, those are the same stories over and over again. It's like, okay, it worked last time. Now let's put the Ewoks back in.
May the forced rape of eyes and ears be with you always.
Technically, I've been reading and looking around. That planet they went to with the Death Star on it wasn't Endor. It was a neighboring planet next to Endor.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the moon of Endor. Endor,
yeah. I've always wondered, were they on the moon of Endor, or was the moon named Endor?
The moon was named Endor.
Forced moon of Endor. So it was a forced moon of the planet Endor.
That's why I was questioning, because they always called it the forest moon of Endor. Meaning, is it like the desert planet of Hoth, or is this, or not Hoth, Tatooine, or is it like the moon of Endor has a forest on it? Because one small step for an Ewok, oh my god, there's teddy bears.
Actually, it's kind of funny that the Ewoks actually do somehow get off that fucking planet. I don't know how, but they do.
Teddy bear traffickers.
I guess. I don't know.
That's how we got Teddy Ruxpins.
Oh, God.
Teddy Ruxpin was just a cyborg Ewok.
How many of you have seen the episode, the Valentine's Day episode, Futurama, where they go to the planet and they kill the bears and then stuff them?
No, I saw that.
That's about right.
It feels like it's about correct.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because it's supposed to be in Return of the Jedi, they bring in a couple of different species. 3 of them, besides the Ewoks. They brought in the Duloks and the Uzumi.
Isn't one of them the commander of the rebel forces?
Yeah,
that's Mon Calamari.
Yeah, Mon Calamari, and they actually had a really good spinoff on one of those races as being a Sith, well, not Sith, but a cybernized. What was that? Mercenary or general? I can't remember. I think it was a general for the Imperial fleet. He actually worked with Darth Vader trying to capture Luke before The Empire Strikes Back. I can't remember what his name is.
Prince Shizor?
Maybe, I'm not for sure.
That's the only thing I remember that happened between 4 or 5 and 6.
But
what was it? Dark. There was an old extended universe book that was really popular for a little.
Yeah. But, he was he was reminiscent of General Grievous, because he was a full cyborg like Grievous was, but he was oh fuck. Too many fucking names. I can't fucking remember it now.
Like he smoked about 15 packs a day, though.
Yeah, him.
Maybe General Grievous is like this. Is a Camel Joe, but after the lung cancer failed.
I still has lungs.
Well, but he needs like machinery to keep breathing because.
Yeah, he needs them to inflate and deflate.
Yeah.
It's almost like living in an iron lung.
But the iron lung.
That's a very skimpy ass iron lung.
No, when you get to that level of sci-fi, you can actually make the iron lung do whatever you want it to do.
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, look at General Grievous. He's supposed to be surrounded in armor, and while Obi-Wan just ripped open his fucking chest like that, it's like, come on.
Well, because Obi-Wan had learned from the guy from Indiana Jones, and he shouted, Kalima!
Yeah.
Kalima!
I mean, he didn't have to, vocalize the Kalima. It was all in his head when he did it.
Yeah, that scene between the final scene between Obi-Wan and Grievous remind me a lot of Indiana Jones. The guy just sitting there swinging the sword outside Indiana Jones
on that one. I mean, come on. Of course he would borrow from his bestest. He also borrowed from his bestest collection in order to sell her over to Disney.
I have a serious kind of thing. After what we saw to Indiana Jones, how did we not know that this was going to happen to Star Wars? How did we fail? The signs were right there.
I don't know. I don't know how anybody's missed it, but I was kind of curious to see what kind of shit show we were going to get.
I've got a question. Is Disney gonna try to resurrect Indiana Jones eventually?
Questionable. It is talks that Indiana Jones will be having another episode.
Oh, God.
I mean, Harrison Ford's getting old. He probably has episodes all the time.
Yeah, sure. But no, he barely shows up for work, anyways. Yeah, no, they've already slated Harrison Ford to reprise his character role as Indiana Jones. Plus, they want a newer, younger version of Indiana Jones as well that they're working on.
And they already fired Shia LaBeouf and buried him.
So, yeah, they're kind of progressing forward like Crystal Skull never happened.
Kingdom of the Crystal Meth.
I mean, that was the Crystal Reaping.
Let's have them be like Mayans, but alien.
Of course, aliens always have to be involved in Indiana Jones, don't you know? It isn't just the Nazis. You have to have aliens. Alien Nazis. Great idea, Lucas. I love it. Well, let's run with this.
They already made Iron Skies, I'm sorry to say.
No one's ever heard of that goddamn movie.
I actually want to see it to see what kind of a fucking shit show it was.
You really want to see it because it is in my list of things.
Oh God.
Oh yes.
Why not? Let's start the fucking new year off with a fucking bang.
All right, it's already up and ready to go, but it's kind of funny how that actually worked.
Wow, this is gonna be interesting.
I had that part of my November wartime movies. I'm like, you know what? I want to go sci-fi. What's the greatest war movie that's sci-fi related?
Starship Troopers.
Iron Sky. No, Starship Troopers almost got us completely taken off of the
Twitch.
off of Twitch.
Yeah. Because of boobies.
There were too many boobies in that one. I'm like, ah, shit. I should have got the edited version. Ah, shit.
But it also proves that single-sex bathrooms have their benefits.
Mental note, remember. Edited version of certain movies. Okay. Because I've also done Shaft and Black Dynamite. Original. Trust me, a lot of boobies in that one, too.
But are they black boobies? Do they fall under the National Geographic rule?
Black and white boobies in Black Dynamite. He's an equal opportunist.
I was gonna say maybe Black Dynamite was so black I couldn't see them. Oh!
And we got the racist who's also a Jew people. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Penny No Chan.
Nah.
Just over to her Twitch channel every now and then when she actually pretends to stream.
Damn.
Say hi.
Hi. You know what? I've already said the N word. I've already said. I've already said the N word. I'm gonna die.
What we're going to do is we're going to encase you in a block of ice somewhere, and we're going to resurrect you 500 years later.
But wait a minute. I got black friends. How can I finish it? Never mind.
No, I feel like we're just being rude because Infallible Val's been here for like 15, 20 minutes, and he's been sitting in the corner just being quiet, so...
Well,
you gotta be careful of those quiet ones.
No, if he wants to sit in a corner and be, slightly explosive later, by all means.
No, Val's got...
I stopped to have a cigarette anyways. I was gonna Star Wars.
There was a reason of why he did that, so, I mean... He could be, tickling a person in their special happy spaces.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it seems like the whole idea of the Star Wars that we have current is still has their access media at doing whatever they're supposed to be doing. I really think it's mostly from the Kathleen Kennedy camp that's forcing this this idea of we're no longer real fans of Star Wars.
Yeah, but how do you describe a fan?
Well,
it usually goes around in a circle and
4 blades. It usually
blows
goes in a
nothing but
certain area.
air.
Sometimes it comes in like on 2 sticks with wafer patterns.
Did we really just go in the same direction?
Yes, you both did, pricks.
Oh
Blew
shit!
us all away.
Yay! Sorry, the little musings.
Yeah. So far as it stands, the Rise of Skywalker, if its budget is true, you're looking at $275 million. If its budget is true.
And if it's not
comparative to The Last Jedi, which budget was $317 million.
How much do they have to pay Carrie Fisher's estate?
That's a question of a lifetime.
Did they pay her in dollars or cocaine?
She did, so obviously it's going to be in dollars. If she was still alive, it'd be cocaine, so it would mean nothing. So, but in total for this entire trilogy, sequel trilogy, they almost spent $1 billion.
$1 billion?
Yeah, to make the shit show. $1 billion.
All right, I am off. I will be back in a little bit. I am going hunting for food.
Okay, you just stock it carefully.
I will.
And use the double barrel.
And if the authorities say, give you any trouble, say it was coming right for
you. Yeah, it's coming right for me. But yeah, no, because they're claiming that it's just under the $1 billion mark if the box office grosses are correctly. You're looking at Rise of Palpatine making 918 million current, which I don't believe it realistically, but unfortunately, because certain people control the actual number crunching, it's very questionable. But outside of the Force Awakens, the relaunch or the redux of Star Wars 4, 5, and 6, they made close to $2 billion.
How much of that was movie sales and how much was toys? Because Porgs were popular.
Yeah, they were. That'd be Jedi, Last Jedi. That would have had the Porgs.
I thought you were doing like the talking about the new trilogy altogether.
Well, altogether, they have no. Well, altogether, their total gross. This is just basic on movies. I'm not talking about anything else on what they did for merch. That's questionable in their merch, because those mercs of Porgs. Oh god, they were like hotcakes. They sold like gangbusters.
They were tasty too, I heard.
Yeah. No, because Last Jedi, just on the box office performance, you're looking overall worldwide at 1.3 billion. Well, 1.4 billion because you have a 333 estimate. Yeah, it made a significant amount of money comparative to how much its budget was, but not in compared to Abrams' Force Awakens. So here's the other argument. If Jar Jar had all three trilogies back to back, would we be in this position that we are now with Star Wars?
Well, there's another thing to think about here: is the style of movie making has changed dramatically between the three trilogies, and you can't recreate what we had in the late '70s because they just don't make films out.
No, they don't.
I think we'd probably be there, but we'd be in like a different place. Like I have a lot of complaints about that movie, the second one, the
Last of the Jedi. Last of Skywalkers is what we were going to call it.
The Last Jedi.
Yeah,
Or no, we're going to call it the Last Skywalker because realistically, by that time frame, all of them were pretty much dead.
But it's a lot different than everyone else's complaints about it, and like I think it did really bad as far as storytelling, as far as like everything they set up in the first movie, like or not the first movie, but yeah.
No, actually, the first trilogy movie, you call it the sequel trilogy. Everything that Abrams, all of his mystery boxes that Abrams sat down, were pretty much almost all answered in The Last of Skywalkers.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was a sequel trilogy. What was just basically Episode 8 ended Star Wars at a whole. The way it was ended, it was like there was no other way for them to get out of the whatever Rian Johnson created for them, because there was no continuation for a third movie. He ended that Star Wars. One and done, I'm out. See you, bitches.
Yeah, there was a lot of just, I don't know, questions that weren't answered by answering them like in their its craziest way possible.
Well, yeah, I mean, who is Ray related to? Nobody.
Yeah,
and that would have been a brave thing to keep too.
Yeah,
people spent how many theories were there on who Snope is, and then well, he's just dead. Don't worry about it. It's like
it was a puppet clone by Palpatine. Ooh.
No, see that becomes later because that's what
later.
Rian Johnson ended the entire trilogy going, Snope doesn't matter, we killed him. Rey's lineage doesn't matter because anybody could be a Jedi, which is why you have Broom Boy. Near the end of the sequence here, it ends a lot of the different areas. Does it really matter who the Lost Order, the Final Order, the New Order, the Blue Order, whatever they want to call themselves. No,
Order.
because
The Blue
they're all
Order
dead
cult.
for the most part. They're not relevant. It's all these different aspects, because now Kylo Ren is running the show, and he's a benevolent dictator. He's good. The Resistance is done. We've got a whole new direction of Star Wars that they could have kind of continued off of, but because what was ever left for pickings, Rian Johnson was told to fix the mistake Last Jedi had. I don't know. I honestly, at the end of the day, did Rian Johnson do a very bad Star Wars? I can't say he did a really good Star Wars. He did a mediocre version of Star Wars.
But like you said before, it's all was what he had to walk up to.
Yeah, and he ended all of what he was given from Rian Johnson, and the third person was supposed to take it. He left, and Rian Johnson said, "Fine, if he's gone, then I'll just end the trilogy."
You know, I was hearing a lot of stuff the other day too, that it had come out that a lot of what JJ wanted to do with the 9th movie, Disney completely did the other thing and destroyed it. So there's a JJ cut out there that might actually make sense.
Here's the problem with all the cuts that are available. There's only 2 actual.
When are you going to start doing my computer?
Anyways, there's only like 2 actual endings that are somewhat been fully edited. All the other cuts that are supposed to exist, because there's treatment of what could be. They're just samples to be put together. The Abrams cut isn't a complete edited cut. It's bogged down with weird threads and that in order for it to be even salvageable. He would have to go in, re-edit the entire film with his cut in mind. What happened with the Lucasfilm or Lucas Entertainment division, they went around and completed their version of the cut using whatever Abrams had completed and pushed it out. Because at the end of the day, there's only one person who has total control of the entire show. It's Kathleen Kennedy. Her department. She gets final say. She pushed out the movie that we see.
Making it her baby or afterbirth.
Regardless of what it is, this is her, and Iger has allowed this to go forward because the requirement for it to be completely presented was it has to appease as many people as possible. And this cut,
it pleased so few.
No, again, and this cut was supposed to be that cut that we get, because it includes the Reylo fans, it includes the Lucas lineage fans, it includes the extended universe fans, it includes the current Star Wars fans. So
it had Bud Antilles of all people in it.
Well, there you go. But does it appease everybody? Does everybody like this movie? No, we can all collectively agree that this was one of the worst versions of Star Wars brought to us.
They tried to please everybody, and they pleased everybody one time, pissing them off all the rest.
Correct. Yeah. That's it. And when you look, if you go back to rewatch this movie, you're going to get more and more upset because there's more and more questions that are there that make no fucking sense for the entire arc of this sequel trilogy.
I'll share my experience on that, because I watched it as soon as I found that the Chinese guy had uploaded it. But
there you go.
and I watched it the first night, and it's like, okay, yeah, they have to make a lot of covers for stuff that's happened. Most of this is kind of okay. It's not thrilling, but parts of it are going good. Then I started watching it again yesterday, and I'm watching the very first scene where Kylo Ren is, for whatever reason, just in the middle of a battle with a bunch of people. That's like, okay, why the hell is he here? This, like, you could tell they clearly cut out a bunch of stuff ahead of this. This doesn't make any sense. Oh, he's here for the MacGuffin. That's right, the MacGuffin that sends everyone on their mission and then they forget about by the end of the movie.
Correct.
And then it's like, oh, now that I've seen the end of the movie and I've had some time to think about it, this doesn't make any fucking sense at all. Why do they?
Especially with the knife.
Well, there's the whole everything's got to line up somehow. Belief system, because you have to kind of go in the process of this chunk of the Death Star landed and was foretold that it was going to land here in order for you to get this Sith artifact to line up the way it's supposed to be, and you need the extendo portion of the hilt in order for you to get the proper marking.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, okay, it could make sense. I'm the Sith guy. The Death Star fell down here. I'm going to hide it up here in this wreckage of the Death Star, and I'm going to make this knife so I remember right where to go when I need to get it, as long as I'm standing exactly right here next time. But if I'm standing exactly right here, I could just look and say, oh, that's where I need to go.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make sense. But man, it was cool in the Goonies, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Kylo didn't even have to. I'm sorry, not Kylo, but Chewbacca didn't even have to do a truffle shovel.
Here's the problem.
Yeah, that's true. I wish he did. It would have been awesome.
Didn't they call that a ancient Sith artifact, though? That knife itself?
Yeah, that's basically what it was. It was supposed to be an ancient. No, that's what I'm saying. The Sith back in the time, you're looking at somebody had to foresee this, that Palpatine was going to fall from grace, and that these were needed aspects to make sure that he, the moment he fucked up, this is how we're going to find his shit in order to take over where he fucked up. So somewhere on the line, some Sith agent or some Sith Lord figured out that Palpatine was going to fall. Palpatine didn't see it, and he's the supreme, out of all Sith, lords, emperors, or whatever. He is the best of the best.
He's the alpha and the omega of the Sith.
Well, I mean,
and he did not foresee his own demise.
He was the only character that really lived throughout the whole franchise. I mean,
well, and that's the other thing. If he lives, then the entire arc that the Skywalkers had, whether it be the Anakin arc or even the Luke Skywalker arc, means nothing.
But we're not supposed to pay attention to that because Rey went into the Avatar state.
Correct. I mean, she's all of the Jedis, and that's the other problem I have with that one. That scene there, because they're trying to market into I Am Iron Man, that end game segment that had Thanos scoring off with Iron Man for the first time. I'm inevitable. I'm Iron Man. Snap. That has more of a heart emotion string tugging aspect because of the factor that we've seen the progression of Tony Stark to a point where he's walked away from the game to go back into the game going, I can solve the problem, and now I've got to die in order for us to go forward without, Thanos, fucking shit up again. Where was that for Rey? That was nowhere. She sacrificed nothing.
Well, she sacrificed her true love that she had for all of 10 seconds.
If you want to call it that, God. She
pretty much.
There's the other problem I have with this. If by whatever reason, and again, going by the original statement that Palpatine made, or the Palpatine puppet thing made, I want you to kill me so I can pretty much infuse my essence into you. Not out of hatred, not out of... I want you to kill me, and then I take you over. That's it. Done. What should she do? She kills him. So, does that mean that Palpatine is now Rey?
I think that was
that was also before he healed himself too.
So I think there's some weird thing where, I guess, since he technically killed himself with his own energy, it just nullifies it. Which, that's why I thought it was gonna be a really big ending.
Right.
I was waiting for
Who knew that Force lightning was like trying to take a piss? You just can't turn it off.
Yeah,
well, here's the thing. When that came about, he was also hooked up to that machine, keeping him alive and stuff like that. And then he force healing himself from Rey's and Ben's,
Yeah, the Dio thing that they became like a living battery.
Yeah, and then he healed himself completely to the point he didn't need the machine no more. So in essence, he didn't need them no more. So that kind of got rid of that whole aspect. and they don't say it, but I think that's what they're trying to go for.
See, that's where the problem comes in. They should have explained it a bit better, because the way how they lined it up written wise for the, and again, I have to look at for the average viewer. The average viewer, when they see this, they're going to be confused on what the end game is.
Kill the girl that I need to stay alive forever.
Pretty much. So it's like, if we keep the girl alive and she kills me by whatever means necessary, I take her over. I now become the girl. And then all of a sudden you throw in this other idea that makes no sense. Oh my god, the two of you together makes this human battery that's been foretold for legends. Okay, so which is it? Do you need the human battery in order to live? Or do you need the girl in order to live? And that's what you get an audience that's going to turn themselves off. You've added way too many things.
I just realized how much this opens up for a Spaceballs sequel, because Mel Brooks is really getting up there. But now we can just have Mel Brooks CGI himself into a machine and just
pretty much. I'm gonna turn this around. I'm gonna make this into a joke from a previous subject. They just call me a Common Core Star Wars.
Pretty much.
But President Scrooge didn't actually die. So did Lone Star? He didn't die on the Planet of the Apes. So like Lone Star's stuff is right out of the window.
Correct.
And that could be like the entire plot of the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be completely. I mean, and that's where we're getting back down to. It's just like they've fucked over one franchise. Why not, play around with the other franchise and make fun out of it?
I just had another idea. They could totally have a lens flare attack. It's like, I can't see what's going on. There's too much lens flare.
Lens flare. Yes.
Wow.
Red Feather. Don't they need her for the battery? Again, yeah, they need both. They need both her and Ben Solo together because of their connection to each other using the Force in order to make this whatever Force diode or whatever they called it.
So if it wasn't for Ben Solo, it was Rey needed to strike Palpatine down, so Palpatine.
Yeah, so they need both of those characters to be alive for Palpatine to have a battery update every now and then. Battery charge.
I've got to get ready to go take my wife to work, but I'm going to leave you with one last question. If Ben and Rey were actually like a human Jedi battery, is Rey the lemon or the potato?
I'd probably say she's all of it, because Solo was the potato going through. He was pretty much Mr. Potato Head, the most likable character out of the two.
Wow.
Does that answer your
Thanks
question?
for having me on.
Hey, no problem. And with that, we've been going for about 2.5 hours, so we probably need to start closing this down.
Oh man.
Do you think a lot of the last episode, do you think a lot of it was just trying to catch people off guard that threw off everything? Because there was a lot of it where I'm like, wow, this is you see they have the two lightsabers, and you're like, oh, okay, then they're gonna have him come back and they're gonna fight together, and then it just didn't happen. It was like, oh no, Rey had two lightsabers.
Well, the problem with that is that they wrote themselves into a circle, a writing circle for the most part. They showcased. It's the same thing. What was it? It's based off of a dagger thing. So in one scene, if you show off the dagger, and it's mounted on the wall somewhere, you in the next few scenes, you have to unfortunately showcase, I think it's Arkham's razor or something like that. You have to showcase the actual weapon being used. You can't just say just continue the entire series without without showcasing this weapon being used.
I assume when they showed the second lightsaber, oh wait, Ben's gonna end up getting one, and
that was basically
but that didn't happen.
The direction, but obviously when it comes down to it. Yeah, but at some point of stage, it comes back down to who's got total control over the direction of the movie. That would be the producer. the producer, likes it or not, they kind of say yay or nay to a new direction. They could rewrite an entire movie based off of their beliefs and idea. This kind of goes back down to Kathleen Kennedy. She didn't like the original trilogy characters because, again, that brings it back to George Lucas, because she's fucking over. So okay, we've got to kill all these legendary characters and keep the ones that are going to fit within my agenda, my quota. Force is female. Okay, so now I'm going to keep every female character alive and kill every male character. And that basically, that's her mindset of going forward on. That's the Kathleen Kennedy camp. That's the Kathleen Kennedy way. Unfortunately, Bob Iger was sold a bunch of lemons when he got Star Wars. He had nothing.
Really he didn't make really good lemonade out of it either.
No, he pretty much was hoping that Kathleen Kennedy knew what the fuck she was doing, because apparently she worked with Spielberg and a few others. So, and like it or not, Spielberg, you put Spielberg on a resume, you're going to be considered like the next coming of Christ. And then that's the problem with the old structure of what's considered modern day Hollywood. There are certain franchisable names out there that the moment you've got this idiot with them on a resume, that idiot is now 10 times better than all the other idiots that you can pretty much buy in a homeless warehouse somewhere. It's really dumb the way how Hollywood is structured itself. So we're doomed to have this go on for another, say, 20 years before a restructure of Hollywood. So look forward to 2040 having a complete solid restructure.
I don't know. I think there's sort of like a little sense of so much gotcha in the series that it kind of just defeats itself. Like, I think Leia, you said like only the women survive. I think she pretty much survived because everyone was expecting her to die, and it would have made sense because she was she died in real life.
Yeah, Carrie Fisher. The funnier thing, the sadder thing is that Carrie Fisher died before the finalization of The Last Jedi. How hard was it for Rian Johnson to flip the script, keep Luke alive, and have Leia die?
It wouldn't have been hard. And then, like, I think the part where the ship's captain, I can't remember her name.
Holdo or Admiral Akbar?
No, in The Last Jedi.
Holdo. Yeah, the purple girl.
Like, if that would have been Leia that sacrificed herself, that's one hell of a go out. But
it would have been the Leia. It would have been the Leia maneuver.
Yeah, but it just
Holdo. So yeah,
they just
that would have been a great way.
Like, well, no, the person that sacrificed themselves was somebody you just heard of the other day. So yeah, it seems like they were trying to swerve people so much that it just threw everything off, and they ended up with nothing.
For Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams, both directors hate each other with a passion. You can see that in the works that they had to go against here. You had the original original J.J. Abrams' Force Awakens to Rian Johnson's Last Jedi. The two of them are pretty much completely opposite of each other. Rian Johnson took whatever baton that J.J. Abrams theoretically passed on to him and shat on it, and then threw it over his shoulder and said, "I got a better script. Let me show you how this is done, bitch." And that's what we ended up with.
That ends up like ruining it. I thought that The Last Jedi was entertaining to watch, but I mean, they showed so many of the things that were set out. Like, there was just all these questions unanswered, and then they answered them by "fuck you."
Mm-hmm. And then you have we have J.J. Abrams doing the reverse for Rian Johnson. This is more or less a feud between two directors, and unfortunately, Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger are having to deal with the mess that is created out of this feud. So we end up suffering more so than we could have before. So yeah, I mean, the only thing they haven't really dusted off and fucked over yet is Buck Rogers. So let's wait for that to happen. Yeah.
Well,
it's just, yeah, we're down this weird little tree, and it's gonna be another 10, maybe 20 years before we see, things change for the better. Right now, the agenda is female, and diversity is our strength, and Hollywood is not gonna let go of this until they're old and decrepit and no longer working. So we gotta wait.
Yep. And with that, that's probably a good point to end off.
It's a sad point to move on to, dude. Seriously, we gotta have some really good thing here. At least let's go with a high note.
Okay, fine. What high note?
Year is 2006, and young Eric Cartman cannot wait for the new Nintendo Wii to come out. Unable to cope with the wait any longer, Eric decides to freeze himself for 3 weeks. But a freak avalanche makes Eric impossible to find, and so he remains frozen for 500 years.
And that's all we have to do. Let's find avalanches, people. Let's have fun.
Oh,
in 500
and
years
that's
from now,
and
we can beat up the fucking otters.
And that's a high note.
Hey, look, otters, man, otters.
Okay. Well, I think today's conversation was real unique. We had a lot of good people. Val, thanks for joining in. Yeah. Val, thanks for coming in and joining us. Yeah, maybe you can jump in more often. Who knows?
Who knows? I would say you should jump in more often. We can kick out the other ones. Well, let's just remove Penn and just kind of just replace it with Foul over here.
Yeah, anyone's welcome to join in, so it's not just.
We can always Alan Rickman somebody.
Yeah. But anyways, schedule's pretty much the same for me. I know I haven't uploaded any of my gameplay videos. I just figured I wanted for the holidays, so I'll be done. That will be scheduled for tomorrow. And Rogue.
Scheduling is slightly changing for the GNF network, most likely. We have a new addition to the streaming family. It's welcome to Nightburn. So that should be interesting. That's going to be focusing on a paranormal and conspiracy. That'll featuring both Nemo and our new addition, Max Maria, or better known as Dean Esme for those who are not hep to the strange game. Yes, we've got Dean. Dean's in our little family camp, which is strange. I love it. That will be happening on the Tuesday show. So TRPC will start on Monday, usually at 5 PST. I don't know what that is for Central. I think it's like 7 Central and whatever it is, 9 whatever Eastern. And then after that will be the group gaming with these people over here, Sparky and Pan, and probably Dracarnith too. And Gemex somewhere maybe showing up if he decides to show up or being kicked out of the game. That hasn't happened very often, so I'm quite curious on if the game's actually going to fuck him over. And then, yeah, we have the Friday's movie night, which will have a new launch. So we're going to do a little bit of animation and some sci-fi for the rest of January. And I'm going to start off with a bit of Nazis, some space Nazis, all because a certain Sparkles or a certain individual has decided that they want to see some Nazis in space. So that's going to be a thing. That's going to be fun. So better, and most of it's going to be happening on the Twitch side. YouTube will get some new additions, so that should be interesting. Just to see how far we can push the YouTube so we can get kicked off of it. That's going to be fun. Yeah, that's it. So, what is it? Monday, same thing. So we should see exactly what's going to happen. TRPC Monday, as well as Rogue Plays with friends, actually with people. So yeah, that's the next upcoming thing on Monday. So see you then, see you there. Twitch side for the most part, Gator and Frog Twitch, or YouTube for our Gator and Frog YouTube channel. Or better yet, you can head over to jnfnetwork.com to see all of our Gator and Frog related material. So yeah, that's all my speeches I'm going to give you.
Yeah. And soon, depending on how fast Penn does a job, that's, But
all I can say, she's going to Alan Rickman herself. She's going to phone herself on an answering machine. Just a reminder that she's supposed to do the work.
Yeah. I'll be my channel will probably be on the GNF network, so I'll be showing that one out a lot more too.
Nice. Welcome to the fold.
Yeah, that's what you said, so.
I know. I always like, it's one of those things. I like having the expansion characters because we did have Angry Atheist, not Angry Atheist, I forget, Mad Cat, whatever he does on his show. We had him for a while, who was part of the family, decided to do something else. So it usually happens. But yeah, welcome to the family.
What'd I miss?
Well, closing out.
Yeah.
Oh, that case.
Hey, can we stop by a place real fast? 1 drugs, please.
My man.
Pretty funny.
So, anything you want to show out there, Jim?
Yes, I stream on Mondays, 7 Days to Die now with you guys, and that's about it. And then I do a lot of this stuff.
I'm gonna go take a shit. You can find him somewhere on Mixer somewhere. If you
Mixer,
look at
Twitch, and all of them.
And he's also
no longer YouTube.
He's also going to be joining us on the Friday streams, right?
I would hope so.
Every once in a while, I do.
Yeah,
every once in a while. Yeah, the holidays have been fucking busy for me.
Well, the holidays for all of us have been slightly busy. Henceforth, why I like taking the 2 weeks off for the holidays usually, which makes it a lot easier for all of us to do what we need to do with our families and friends and pretend that we're going to be working.
Yeah.
Did we have one this Friday?
No, we did not. I put in
reruns.
some cartoons in that to replace it. I always have stuff to
Did you fuck up?
Deploying Mako Core security. Death Laser robot.
I might have fucked up, yes.
Oh, God.
No, unless it's panned, then that would have been correct. I usually are pretty focused on what my scheduling is.
So with that, I would offer the offer to Mansquatch or Redstone, whichever one you want to go by for his handle, to chill out stuff, but he ended up having to leave, so I'm pretty sure he will do it on Twitter or in my Discord. And Fowls, anything you want to go ahead and chill out?
I mean, I guess I'll probably go jump over to Red Man Radio and talk about World War III and how we're all going to die, but if we don't die in the process of that, but...
Ooh, okay.
I don't know if we're going to die. That I wait to find out.
Hey, good luck. Oh, no, only if you're under 35 and be drafted. As far as I'm concerned, I already did my part. Good luck to the rest of you fuckers.
I don't know if we have a World War III. I have to wait and find out. I mean, I'm over the age of 35, so I'm like, I don't know.
I already did my shit, so good luck.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out.
I wish you Zoomers the best of luck, and he's a scooter now. Zoom.
Well, if anyone wants to show out the links to what they're going to go to or what they want to show out, go ahead and show them in the comments, and I'm going to go ahead and start the outro music. Thanks for joining. Thanks for having fun with us every Sunday around the same time. Please like and subscribe. Please check out some of these other people that came on and talked to us. Really interesting to talk to, listen to, and chat with. So with that, take care, everyone.
Hey, Blondie.